Broadcasting stations. It's time for Sports Time on Sports 56. This hour of Sports Time is brought to you by Lexus of Memphis. Here are your hosts, Brett Stats Norsworthy and former Memphis Tiger Gabe Kuhn.
Off and rolling. Welcome in to the Tuesday, January 18, 2022 edition of Sports Time on Sports 56 with Gabe and Stats. We're always live from the Family Leisure Studios in Memphis, Tennessee. I am Gabe Kuhn. My partner does pre and post for the Ole Miss Football Radio Network. He is Brett Stats Norsworthy. Brett, hello.
Good afternoon, Gabe.
Producing the program, filling in for the wonderful Brian Dacus is, I like to call him the John Conchar of Sports 56. Jay Morgan Harder, first one in, last one to leave. Jay, hello.
Hello. I've long been compared to Jitty. That's my player comparison for sure.
Yeah, no question about it. First one in, hard hat guy. You're doing the long hours. There's no question about it. Do all the dirty work. Gotta love it. First time our show brought to you by Lexus of Memphis, the one and only Lexus dealership in Memphis. Plenty to get to today. Grizzlies handled business yesterday during their annual Martin Luther King Jr. Day game versus the Bulls. Win 119-106. We will discuss that momentarily. Wild card weekend in the past. After the Rams show the Cardinals absolutely no mercy. Final 8 set. We will discuss that. We will have a bit of national college football news to get to. Transfer portal, coaches moving around, coordinators moving around, as well as some Tiger football news out of the transfer portal. Got a welcome bit of news yesterday. Tiger basketball will be in action on Thursday versus SMU to try to start an upward climb. We will see what happens. We bring on Dave Voloshin at 3:30 to discuss that, the voice of the Tigers. 4 o'clock, Brent Beard joins us to talk some college football on the national scale and in the SEC. 5 o'clock, Beau Marchant joins us to talk some NFL. We will get to an early Taco Bell crunch time at about 5:18. We'll be out by 5:25 for our accommodation of Ole Miss basketball versus Mizzou pregame at 5:30, tip-off at 6. AutoZone listener line 901-360-8255. Text in your questions, comments, concerns about anything we talk about today. Get in the zone, AutoZone. Also, watch us live and message us on Twitter, YouTube, Facebook, Twitch, and at sports56whpq.com. Brett, how is it going?
Going well tonight. Ole Miss and Mizzou down in Oxford. It doesn't feel like both Conzo Martin and Kermit Davis both can be back next year. Both of those teams underachieving. A lot of reasons why. A lot of injury, a lot of COVID, a lot of stuff that's really a common denominator for a lot of different teams out in college basketball. The Memphis Tigers are not alone. Mm-hmm. Conzo Martin, again, I thought the one Sweet 16 year at Tennessee was the outlier, lucky shot of all time. He's done nothing at Mizzou, and Mizzou looks like they might once again be changing coaches, and It's been a lot of basketball coaches at Mizzou since Norm Stewart.
You know what? I don't think Conzo Martin's a good coach by any stretch of the imagination. I'm not going to go crazy, though, on saying he's done a bad job at Mizzou, because I don't think Mizzou's the easiest job in the world. Frank Haith and Mike Anderson did a decent job there. But
Quinn Snyder.
But you talk about Conzo Martin. Well, Quinn Snyder even earlier than that. But Conzo Martin's been to the tournament twice. Granted, he lost in the first round both times. His teams weren't all that good. But, I mean, Conzo –
Norm made it look easy for a long time, though, didn't he?
The way it's going at Mizzou, I would certainly think Conzo has his days numbered. They're 7-9. They look terrible. But he hasn't been horrible at Mizzou. I'll say that. He's been okay.
Is that a ringing endorsement?
No, that's not a ringing. Again, it's not a ringing endorsement. But I don't know who you bring in right now to just at Mizzou to really revitalize that program. Who?
Gabe, you know it well. There was a time that Mizzou really fancied itself as a basketball school, didn't it?
Not very long ago, it seems like in the days of right before Frank Haith was the coach.
Maybe the tail end of Mike Anderson and then the tail end of or the early days of Quinn Snyder, maybe. But I don't know. I don't think they ever really.
For sure under Norm.
They never really put themselves. Yeah, definitely under Norm. But they never really, after that, never really were basketball school.
Never been to a Final Four, two Elite Eights
and I think,
ever.
Wouldn't you say that Gary Pinkel, with what he did with that football program, sort of turned the tide
It did. Extraordinary.
And then getting into the SEC definitely changed that into
And
more of a
2
football
trips to
school.
Atlanta.
Yes, first 2 years in the SEC when no one thought they could do that.
Extraordinary, and ran into mighty teams both times in Auburn and in Alabama. But they play tonight. Kermit Davis, like Penny Hardaway in his 4th year. Unlike Penny Hardaway, he's been to an NCAA tournament, got blasted by Oklahoma.
If Kermit could get offensively going, if he could get and I think recruiting has something to do with it too. I think if he recruited a little better and got his offense sort of off the ground, that Ole Miss team has so much more they can unlock. Because defensively, I think at times they can lock in and they look really good.
I do too, but it's a grind on the offensive end.
Yeah, it's been rough.
Kermit might just be a lower major coach, which is not a knock on him. I mean, there's a whole different element when you get to Power 5 basketball that isn't there in mid-major basketball. And it's not a knock. I don't think it's a knock on a guy necessarily. To maybe he's better suited for a different level.
Yeah,
I don't either, Jay Morgan, and it showed maybe this is why a lot of people passed on him a lot of times after good Middle Tennessee State years, including how many times his alma mater passed on him when they could have hired him at Mississippi State.
And he was damn good at Middle Tennessee. He's damn good.
But you don't get giddy pots every year.
Right. But he does have that sort of the defensive style, that morphing zone that's just different than any other coach really in the country.
Let's win 51-50.
Yes. Try to grind it out. If he could unlock some sort of offensive prowess, I think he could get that Ole Miss program definitely.
And cry river to Ole Miss fans about players injured. Jarkel Joyner, he's been out a while now, and had another player got injured against Memphis, so they've been without him. So it's not just 1 or 2 people that have had this mixed up, torn up, crazy year.
Mm-hmm. It's been everybody. It's been everybody, especially with COVID-19 too, and Omicron and everything else going on. Now, we were on the air while the Grizzlies were playing. They improved to 31-15. They beat the Bulls 119-106. After that ugly first quarter offensively, neither team really had it going. 20-20 after the first quarter. That's a low-scoring quarter, the way the Grizzlies have been going. But John Bain, 25 points apiece. Grizzlies now improved.
Jaren's defense.
Won 22 of their last 27. Jaren with 5 blocks. They look good.
Steven Adams looking like he's the doorman at the lamplighter.
That's what I was saying. The only takeaway I have from yesterday's game is that Steven Adams, after his basketball career, there's 2 types of employment he should seek: bouncer or professional wrestler. There's no in between.
Can't you just see him like at a place in retirement, just sitting on all that cash, needing something to do, and being the doorman at like Bamboo Joe's in Turks and Caicos?
No one's messing with him, I'll tell you that much.
Nobody.
I've seen doormen that look like him. I've seen bouncers that look like him. Never his height, though. If I saw someone 7 foot at the door, I don't know if I'd go in. That'd be scary.
Would it be appropriate, Steven Adams and Valanciunas own a bar in Turks and Caicos named Bamboo Joe's?
That's a retirement job right there.
Bamboo Joe's. Bamboo Joe's. They're going to own it.
And a lot of beads dangling from the ceiling. Got to have a strobe light.
Send out the email. See if they're willing to be a business partner with you. You can be the 3rd business partner.
I'd love to own a college town bar.
Where at? Where's the ideal location for you?
Somewhere in the SEC.
Not Oxford?
No, a little saturated.
Okay.
Most all of them
I was going to say they're all
saturated.
I
think there's an opening in Lubbock, Texas, Brett. I'm telling you. Maybe that's you. I know that's the Big 12.
Pass on Lubbock.
So you have to go SEC. It has to be SEC.
No, don't have to.
Okay,
don't
I was
have
going
to
say Mizzou's pretty saturated, and that's the least
Very.
SEC school that we're really dealing with out in the SEC.
I really like Athens, but again, saturated.
You cannot go to Nashville. You can't go Vanderbilt. You just
No.
can't. They have plenty.
That's not SEC town. I don't know what that is, but
It's by definition, Brett. It's an SEC town by definition.
By the strict definition of it. But
let's think. I'm still thinking for you. Where do we go? Oh, Texas and Oklahoma. You could go when they join.
They don't count.
Austin or Norman. Austin's definitely saturated. I don't know about Norman. Never been to Norman.
I've never been to Norman either.
Yeah,
I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah. What
I
are
love
we thinking?
College Station.
Are we thinking 2025, 2024? Because we haven't heard anything.
Oh, that's a great question. We'll have to ask Brent Beard about that. When the news broke that day last summer at the Winfrey, I thought it would happen by 2023. Well, we know that's, or no, I'm sorry, by this coming season, by 22. This coming fall of 2022, we would be. Well, that's not happening. 23 is not happening. With 25, we know it's happening. So at the earliest now is 24, and that doesn't feel very likely. It feels like everybody kind of got in their comfy zones on things and just going to let it ride everything out on all the contracts and all the realignment.
That's what I was saying.
And then retool.
Brett, to think about all of the conversations we were having about getting there before contracts were done, even with the college football playoff, that ain't
felt
happening.
Certain, didn't it? No, it's not.
That ain't happening. It's 2026, and then you look at what Jim Phillips, the ACC commissioner, said last week. No earlier than 2026. I mean, he was
Jim
very
Phillips
clear.
made some comments that I agree with. I know he's been blasted by a lot of SEC types.
I
Gabe,
agree with
I'm pretty with him on one thing. We're playing enough football. I mean, 12, 13, 14, 15 games. Come on now.
What I agree with is that maybe now is not the right
–
time while this contract's going on with the shifting of college athletics as a whole.
Let it all settle.
Maybe it's not the right time to just jump into something new immediately. That's the only thing I agree with. Now, he says that he does favor expansion, although I don't know how much expansion he really favors, Brett. It doesn't seem like much. It seems like he's okay with 4, even though his conference, unless Clemson stays around for the long haul, I just don't see who from his conference is going to be around for a 14 playoff every year.
Well, I think Mike Norvell would like to have a word down the line. I think Mario Cristobal would like to have a word down the line.
We'll see, though.
I don't know that Mac Brown can sustain it if we're really talking about anything sustainable at North Carolina. Wake Forest, Dave Clawson.
Also,
hey, let me jump in the chat.
There's a way when we talk about player safety and expanding a season, certain amount of games. There's a way we can limit. We can cut all, I promise you, and maybe this is a conversation for 2026, like Jim Phillips says, but we can cut off some of these nasty non-conference games. We
sure can.
We don't need to see them play an FCS team at the beginning of the year. That's
never
how you
ever
cut
again.
Out games. That's how you cut out games.
I agree with you, and I've said for a long time, all we did in adding that 12th game, all we did was add playing Charleston Southern and Presbyterian.
Mm-hmm. And no one cares. No one needs
Nobody
to see
cares.
that.
And it's an insult to your season ticket base. It's an insult to their intelligence to tack that game on.
It's a free win, though.
At full freight. It is, but
it's a cheap win. It's a
cheap way to go.
I also think the argument the other way, saying, well, what these FCS schools like the payment that they get? They don't get that drastic of a payment. I mean, what is it? $1 million buy game, basically. And yes, you would cut that out, but that's not that big.
And if you're so benevolent, let's just get a pull up and cut them a check. The big boys have it.
It's not that big of a deal. That payment's not doing that much for their athletic department. I promise you.
It's not in yes, there are the occasional upset. You're always good, and that's one on the wagering front to keep an eye on around that opening weekend. Is that Cal Davis getting all those points? And never mind straight up, but just staying within, shouting distance. There's always a couple of those. Montana's always good for one in there, in Eastern Washington and
North Dakota State, no question.
Yeah,
I don't know why
a couple of those are always good for it.
Brett, I don't know.
Appalachian State once upon a time in FCS.
I have no idea why anybody would schedule North Dakota State anymore. Iowa's done it. In the past 5 to 6 years,
Kansas
State
State's
did it.
Been scratched up a time or two.
Why
with
schedule
those.
them? Why schedule such a good FCS program? I don't get that.
Ole Miss lost to Jacksonville State once upon a time.
Jacksonville State had the big upset this year of Florida State.
Mm-hmm. Arkansas lost to Citadel. It happens. I know what can happen on Thursday night. If you're missing football on Thursdays, well, you can still turn Thursday into payday with NBA on TNT at FanDuel Sportsbook. Brett Norsworthy here for FanDuel. It doesn't matter if you win or lose. FanDuel's giving all customers $10 back every Thursday. Just bet a $10 or more same-game parlay on any NBA on TNT game. This Thursday, Phoenix at Dallas. All kind of choices there. And the Pacers at Golden State in the late game. Player point totals, rebounds, assists, money line. on Thursday night, just what you can get out of Luka with the Mavericks would make it fun to root for your favorite player, a chance to put a small bet down and win big. It's the perfect way to turn a small bet into a big-time score. Easy to register, easy to deposit, and when you win, you get your cash back in as little as 2 hours. Get $10 back every Thursday, win or lose, with TNT Thursdays. If you're new to FanDuel, just sign up with promo code CASH to get your first bet risk-free up to $1,000 and make every moment more this NBA season. That's promo code CASH exclusively on the FanDuel Sportsbook app. Must be 21 or older and present in Tennessee. Bonus issued is non-withdrawable site credit that expires in 7 days. Max bonus $10. Restrictions apply. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Gambling problem, call the Tennessee Red Line at 1-800-889-9789. This hour of our show brought to you every day, as Gabe said, starting this hour by Lexus of Memphis. They're at 2600 Ridgeway and online at lexusofmemphis.com. The one and only Lexus dealership in town. Call them at 901-362-8833. Great offers on all 2022 models and always special leasing options. Driving luxury and confidence knowing that every new Lexus comes with complimentary first and second maintenance services. Stop by today at Lexus of Memphis at 2600 Ridgeway and put yourself in the driver's seat of the all-new 2022 flagship LS500, and you'll be looking and you'll be driving in style. When you purchase a Lexus, you get top-of-the-line engineering and design, and they make for the luxury driving experience. 901-362-8833. Online at lexusofmemphis.com. Experience amazing at Lexus of Memphis.
Top story of the day.
And Brett, this could be monumental to how we view COVID-19, testing in sports in the USA. The NHL today says they plan to stop testing asymptomatic players and staff members following the All-Star break. They will still test all players and staffers before cross-border travel between the United States and Canada because of Canada's restrictions. But in the United States, if you're traveling, testing will not be necessary if you're asymptomatic. Also, players who show symptoms will be required to test. But this is a huge switch from where we have been this entire pandemic. This could be a big day when we're talking about American sports and testing for COVID-19. I think it's very interesting. I know we're all on different pages right now, but the NHL taking this step certainly puts a lot more pressure on some of these other leagues.
I concur. Great take. Top story for me, Matthew Stafford gets that long-awaited playoff win. Finally, 13 years with no playoff wins. It's over. He got it last night. He outrushed. He had more yards rushing than Kyler Murray, who had that in any FanDuel wager. And it was a big moment for Kyler Murray last night. He'll be better next time. Next time he's in the playoffs. But against that defense on the road, 80,000 under a roof in Los Angeles. Now the Rams versus the champs in TB12. And Kyler Murray in Arizona, they're officially out.
And thank the Lord I don't have to hear about how Matt Stafford's 0-3 in playoff games in his career anymore, Brett. I'm sorry.
He had no chance in Detroit.
Who cares? That's not a worthwhile stat in my opinion.
He had no chance in Detroit.
Yes, he had Megatron. Yes, he had some winning seasons with Jim Caldwell, but you're right. No chance to win a playoff game in Detroit.
Not top story of the day.
This stays in the NFL. Not good news. Malik McDowell, Brown's starting defensive tackle, Malik McDowell, only 25 years old. He was arrested last year in 2019.
Is this a Hardwood story?
For beating up a policeman. This is a leading story. This is actually very concerning. It was a Hardwood story, though. It was. It was, and you'll see why. You'll hear why here in a second. He was arrested this time after his 2019 arrest for beating up a policeman. He's arrested for public exposure, indecent exposure, and assaulting an officer. Yet again, surveillance footage out there. There is surveillance footage. Look, not for the mentally weak. That's all I'm going to say, because this is a 320-pound man, fully in the nude, walking naked onto a learning center property while classes were in session. Police tried to apprehend him. He ended up punching back and dazing a police officer in the process. And the Brown statement Brett, this is ridiculous.
So the police officer took a big left hook from a naked man?
From a naked 320-pound man, yes. And the Browns, their statement is, and I know they always say this when one of their players gets arrested, but we are aware of the very concerning incident,
gravity of the situation
involving Malik McDowell, and we're in the process of gathering more information. Guys, there is surveillance video
it's a
of
naked
this
man.
guy. He's naked on a learning center property beating up cops. It's not that complicated. You don't need more information. But that was a hard
I don't know if I can
story.
follow that one up. My not top story, it's simply the Grizzlies, officially third seed in the West. Only one team with more wins in the entire NBA. Grizzlies now 16 over 500, 17-9 at home. And now on the road for four toughies, Milwaukee, Denver, Dallas, and San Antonio. They're 14-6 on the season on the road. They blasted the Bulls yesterday. The next 4 months, you think about it, from now until May 20th or so, next 4 months, it's going to be the best 4 months in Grizzlies history.
And it has been a good couple of months here when they've been on the stretch of winning. I mean, you could argue these couple of months we've been in are two of the best months.
Downtown cracking and popping and sunshine out and music fest and time change and all that good stuff.
100% Beale Street popping again. I understand completely. That'll do it for our top and our not top story of the day. When we come back on the other side, we're going to bring in our good friend, voice of the Tigers, Dave Lotion. You can also hear him 10 to 11 with Jay on Wolo and Friends. We'll be right back with him right here on Sports Time with Gabe and Stats.
Be sure to follow us at Sports 56 WHBQ on Twitter, Facebook, and YouTube to watch live video of our shows. Stay up to date with station events and have chances to win prizes from Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
At Jason's Deli, when you're dining in or picking up curbside, you can expect wholesome food and no surprises, just delicious sandwiches, crisp salads, and quick quality meals made with the freshest ingredients and no artificial trans fats, MSG, high fructose corn syrup, or artificial colors and dyes. Around here, a lot of thought goes into what we put into our food and what we take out of it, because you're not just taking a bite, you're getting a taste of who we are. New items are constantly being created to expand our menu for all tastes and special diets with vegan and gluten-free options available. Convenience and on-time delivery you can count on. It's just a click away at jasonsdeli.com, so whether you need to feed 5 people or 5,000, the team at Jason's Deli, they have the credentials and the commitment to keep you satisfied. Freshness is nearby at Jason's Deli with locations at Ridgeway in the Park Place Center, Poplar and Highland, Germantown Road in Cordova, and on Goodman Road in Olive Branch. Jason's Deli. It's wholesome food and no surprises.
Have you wanted to speak a new language but thought it'd be too difficult or take too much time? Then try Babbel. In just 15 minutes a day, Babbel teaches you conversations that you will actually use. With 14 languages and lesson topics like travel, business, relationships, and more, you'll learn what matters most to you. Babbel. Language for life. Learn a new language with ease. Go to Babbel.com to try for free. That's BABBEL.com.
The new year means new great savings at Gossett Kia on the Pike. 10 years of worry-free driving. We Gossett with Kia's 10-year, 100,000-mile powertrain limited warranty. Take your pick. 2022 Kia Forte LXS or 2022 Kia Sportage, $199 a month. Forte, $27.99 due at signing. Sportage, $34.99 due at signing. Let your adventures begin with 2022 Kia Sorento, $359 a month, $34.99 due at signing. All 36-month leases. Come see Bobby J. He's ready to put you in a new Kia today. Gossett Kia, 1900 Covington Pike, or shop 24/7. KiaCovingtonPike.com.
If you want it, we got it at Gossett Motor Cars.
All 36-month leases, 650 acquisition fee, 30,000 miles per year, 20 cents excess mileage. Sportage, N702, 7277, MSRP 25,460. Forte, NE44, 2833, MSRP 21,980. Sorrento, NGO 990119, MSRP 35,340. Includes all rebates and incentives. PF 695 must finance through KMF. Excludes tax title and license with approved credit. See dealer for complete details. Offer valid through 2/3/2022. Dealer stock only.
There's just something about sitting in the perfect neighborhood bar, the atmosphere that only a neighborhood bar can have. And that's what's so great about Sweetgrass Next Door in the heart of Cooper Young. This is a bar where you can relax, enjoy great food, great drinks, and most importantly, great people. Whether it's the friendly staff, likely to remember you the next time you walk in the door, or the friendly customers, people you're going to want to remember the next time you walk in the front door, Sweetgrass Next Door is the ideal place to watch a game or make new friends. The next time you want to enjoy some time out of the house, make it Sweetgrass Next Door in the heart of Cooper Young.
Now, back to Sports Time on Sports 56. This hour is brought to you by Lexus of Memphis. Here once again are Brett Norsworthy and Gabe Kuhn.
As always, welcome back into Sports Time on Sports 56 with Gabe and Stats. AutoZone listener line, 901-360-8255. Get in the zone, AutoZone. You can also watch us live and message us on our social media platforms, Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, and at sports56whbq.com. We bring in our good friend, voice of the Tigers, Dave Woloshin. You can also catch him from 10 to 11 on Wolo and Friends. Dave, how are you?
I'm good, and I'm a problem solver.
Okay.
You realize that. This is why
what
Brett
problem?
Norsworthy,
Okay.
This is why he loves me, and I was listening. I kind of came in halfway on your conversation, running from the dentist to get home, so I could do this hit.
Okay.
And I heard about Brett's desire in his new life.
Oh.
In what was it, 2025?
Bar owner.
I got the place for him.
Let's hear it.
Romantic, beautiful.
I don't know.
I
don't know if he was aiming for romantic and beautiful with his
he
bar.
should. I'm trying to look after him.
Okay.
Here. This is the place, because by the time he's ready, they'll be Power 5. We're talking Boise.
Not a prayer. Not a prayer.
Wow.
Not a prayer.
What do you mean
Too
not a
cold.
prayer?
Too cold in the winter, Brett.
And the most arrogant fan base in the history of sport.
Yep.
But you're one of them. They wouldn't be arrogant to you anymore.
Don't want to be one of them. I'd rather be a fan of Central Michigan than I had Boise State.
Hey, Central, why not?
Central Michigan, that's cold. You don't want to be there.
That's
cold without enjoying the mountains.
It's
The
not cold in
Chippewas.
Boise.
What is? But you got mountains. You got ponds.
And you got potatoes.
Potatoes.
As far as the eye can see, Brett. Potatoes. What could beat it? Bar food? Fry
You got
up
a
some
bowl
fries?
there for you. I mean, you could become a board of director guy. Lord knows, it could all work out. You'd take over the bowl.
So
All I want to do is sit at the door and check IDs.
you have to have someone else next to you, right? Brett?
You need to go.
If you're checking IDs, if you're bouncing.
You're looking at maybe Boca, somewhere down there. Of course, the expense of a bar down there would be immense.
I'm going to throw this at you guys. Have y'all? And it's a common name. There's one in Memphis. There's the famous one in center field at Wrigley. There's one at our friend at his great place at Old Waverly. Have y'all ever been to a bar named Murphy's that wasn't fun?
No, you're right.
Every Murphy's you've ever been. It's
never
like
been
going.
to a Murphy's.
It's like going out with a girl named Nikki. They're always fun.
I have never dated a Nikki. I got to be honest. I've missed something in life.
Is there a Murphy's here in Memphis?
Oh,
Best bar in
yeah.
town.
Oh, yeah.
Man.
Oh yeah,
I've never
Gabe.
been to Murphy's. Who's bringing me?
Oh, Gabe, it's where the pub crawl. It's where the blessing of the kegs used to be.
Who's bringing me? I feel like I am left out.
We'll do it tomorrow, Jay Morgan. Won't we? We'll go over there for lunch.
I love Murphy's.
I will tell you, I'm shocked you've not heard of Murphy's here.
Gabe, I am too. You studied and played way too hard of football.
Well, then, you know what? Murphy's, we got to go. Dave, are you going to accompany? Brett, are you going to accompany?
You know what? I might try to do that.
I don't know that I
Brett's
can
going,
tomorrow. I spoke too quickly. I don't know that I can tomorrow, but soon for sure. And Dave, you remember the blessing of the kegs there for
Dave,
pub crawl
I
a
know
lot of
you're
years.
going to sit next to me and you're going to drink
I did.
an IPA with me, right?
I remember blessing of the kegs, and then you go downtown and you do
The blessing of the kegs.
Oh yeah, Gabe. It was.
You do
Who
the
blessed
grape
them?
thing.
Who blessed them?
Who do you think? Silky Sullivan did. Silky himself did. Oh, that was some riball fun, wasn't it, Dave? And Dave and I, every year on St. Patrick's Day, we talk about it, don't we, Dave?
We do. You've got to be there once for the. I'm sure they still do it. I know
bet they
Sookie's
do.
no longer with us, but I guarantee you they still
Dave,
do.
I know you'll sit next to me and enjoy a Tiger Tail with me at Murphy's.
And Gabe, I
Sounds like a
promise
plan.
you.
Absolutely.
I promise you, it was everybody walking on a pub crawl. You were walking from establishment to establishment. Median blood alcohol, 0.15, Dave.
That's probably fair. I'm not going to say anything different.
All right.
All right, boys, peace out. So what's on your boys' minds today?
Tigers 0-2 last week. Let's talk about it. I just want to hear sort of what you thought about how the week shook out.
Maybe we should talk about the Matt Barnes, the new DC, the new OC.
Oh, we'll get to that. We'll get to that. We'll get to that at the end.
I mean,
We'll get to that at the end. We're talking Tiger basketball to start.
Give us a way out, Dave.
Come on, Dave.
It starts with winning at home Thursday night, doesn't it?
Well,
that's for openers.
Let me try to be as positive as I can about this. Memphis at this moment still has 4 quad one opportunities, but they just cannot afford to lose any games at home the rest of the way. And if they were to lose 1 or 2 road games and they win every other game possible, that you could still be an at-large team. And you know it's a long shot now, but it's still there to be had. You know why, Brett? You used to say this a lot, and you're absolutely right. Because they got to get 68 teams in.
That's it. And look at them still hanging around as scratched up as that resume is, Dave.
Yeah.
And we know this for a fact. Even in a bubble year, they didn't walk out there on Selection Sunday and go, no, just got 57 good teams. That's all we're having this year.
That's right. There's going to be 68, and we do have 4-1 quads still there to be had. And, you know, in the long run, those quad ones, if you go on a nice roll here and say go 10-2 and maybe 11-2, if they do make up that quad one opportunity with Tennessee, maybe they get a 1 or even a 2, that would help. And if you go 9-2, then say, and you nail 2 or 3 of those quad ones, you know what, you might still have a chance, but your margin for error has gotten less and less and less, and that's because now you've got, if I do this right, let's say the Tulane loss, even though they're playing better, but that's a bad loss. The Georgia loss on the road is a bad loss. The Ole Miss loss on the road is a bad loss. The East Carolina loss on the road is a bad loss, and then the Murray State loss at home probably is a bad loss too because it's at home.
They're 30 today in the net, though.
That's who is?
Murray's 30.
Well, then that's not such a bad loss, honestly. That's why they're 2-2. That's why they're 2-2 in the quads, in the quad ones. That's interesting. I wondered how they got there. Now I know they're 2-2 because now Murray State's a quad one loss, and you could still end up 3-2 depending on what Wichita State does the rest of the way. That's slipped out again. So, you know, I think if we're really fair, those are bad losses. That's fair. That's a fair, objective statement. I think it's also a fair and objective statement to say that when you started the East Carolina game, even though you were up 19 and should have won the game, you were down 5 guys. And then midway in that second half, you lost a 6th guy. And probably that 6th guy would have been on who's 6'9" and could jump out of the gym instead of the shorter Tyler Harris, who was in on the final defensive play. So honestly, I don't think there are many schools anywhere that could survive 5 guys, especially when 2 of them are your best players, or 2 of your best 3 players for sure, when they're not around, and you've got to play a team that's in conference on the road. I just don't think there would be many that would survive that. I really do not.
I don't know how much I believe the next minute and a half of talking that I'm going to do, but here's a scenario that I can paint. First of all, Tigers have to win. Not only can't afford any more bad losses, may not can afford any, maybe 1. All right. So you look at the Tigers at 63 today. Well, in front of them, Grand Canyon at 59. Well, Gravity's going to get Grand Canyon. You go to North Texas at 55. Same drill. Iona at 52. Same thing. Boise State at 47 and Chattanooga at 46. All of that's going to, inertia and gravity is going to get all those teams. You go to Davidson at 39. Well, that's 6 teams right there that you would move ahead of if you had the requisite winning and just playing out the rest of the year. As bleak as it is, as dark a basketball hour as it is on January 18th, the door's not slammed shut.
No, but here is the problem. Those are great examples, but I'm going to use the reverse of those examples on you. Where's Arkansas in the net today?
Yeah, that's a good one. Arkansas's 57.
Okay, so they're in the Memphis neighborhood, right? Memphis
Yes.
has 4 quad one opportunities as of today. I believe Arkansas has 7. All
That's
these
correct.
fringe in the neighborhood Power Fives that are going to play Big 12 teams, that are going to play SEC
Wake
teams,
Forest,
that are going to play
Creighton.
ACC. Wake Forest is a perfect example. They're going to play ACC teams. They're going to have so many more quad one opportunities. Now, they may lose them, but if they win 1 or 2 there, they're in a better position.
It's self-fulfilling prophecy. That's a good example. That is true. Dave, on January 18th, what are you more surprised by? The 7 losses. Today would be 7th seed in an AAC tournament, or the road losses at both Tulane and ECU?
Well, yeah, I think the totality of the losses, and again, you know, at Tulane, at East Carolina, you were missing so many key guys that, you know, both those teams, if you look at them, East Carolina's got more wins than Memphis total. Not that they have any really superb wins. Memphis may be their best win. You know, Tulane went and beat Cincinnati. So Tulane is an improved team, and I give Ron Hunter a lot of credit. When we first saw them, they were awful. I mean, what was their net at that time was really bad, and they
200 and something.
They had lost to some bad teams, but they also had 8 new guys, 6 transfers from Power Fives. So
he needed
they were
his
gonna
shutdown.
be bad. They were going to be bad because they didn't know how to play with one another. Ron Hunter has gotten them playing with one another, and they've got one really good player, the kid, the Cook, that transferred from LSU, who, by the way, is a point guard in college. That's pretty important. That's one area that Memphis really needs to recruit, is a guy who's a true point guard. And Calvin and that kid Cook is that. And so they've learned to play with one another, and they're not your father or my son, for that matter. They're not that Tulane team. They're a little bit better. So, but I would say the totality of the numbers of losses, that's the more depressing.
Dave, I'll tell you the thing that concerns me. You talk about 4 quad one opportunities left, and Houston, I think, will be there by the end of the whole thing. Kelvin Sampson's done a really good job there, and he will continue to do a really good job there. But I get worried about how cannibalistic I know this conference will and can be down the stretch of this season, because I just saw Central Florida, who the Tigers lost to this week, and they sort of ran away with that win by 10. I saw Central Florida go into South Florida, the worst team in the conference, and lose. So I just wonder how much opportunity for quad. I wonder how many by the end of the year quad one opportunities we're talking about for the Tigers with some of these teams, like Cincinnati, who has proven they can get beat, especially going away. SMU, who has proven that they can get beat going away. I just wonder how many more quad one opportunities outside of Houston there will actually be when we get to the end of the year.
That's fair, and I don't know, but really, I mean, if you're Mike Oresco, isn't that really what you want from your league? You want as many high net ranking teams as you can possibly get. I don't know where Tulane's is today, but it's way above what it was to begin with. USF was terrible. It looks like it's going to move up a little bit, but I'm really shocked by what happened with UCF. UCF, you know, if they hit threes, they're going to be in games, and if you don't turn it over against them, you're probably going to beat them. And Memphis didn't do either of those things. They missed free throws, they allowed threes, and they turned the ball over. Mm-hmm. And that's the biggest. If you're looking for the barometer of why Memphis loses games, it's because they turn the ball over and they miss free throws. They missed 12 free throws in the loss to UCF.
Mm-hmm.
There was another game this year. They missed 11 in a game that was winnable. They lost by 1 point where they missed 7 free throws. You look at a common theme. If you're trying to see why Memphis failed, and beyond injuries, because these guys play, still got to play the game, right? Beyond the injuries, you look, missed free throws and turnovers, and I promise you that's why they lose the games.
Dave, now looking back, just with the value of hindsight, and it's always perfect, that 3-game winning streak of St. Louis, Western Kentucky, and Virginia Tech against 3 really good coaches, heck, that's pretty fortunate now.
Well, that's why you're still at 63. When you think about all the bad losses that they've had, because in the end, the Ole Miss team, the Georgia team, they're not really good teams, and Memphis lost.
They're not even good at all. No. Tulane's 131 today, and Temple 125.
Brett, I honestly believe that Tulane has gone up, 80 spots since Memphis played.
Over 100. Yeah.
Oh, it's over 100.
Yeah,
okay.
I think that night when we were there, they were 215 or so. I mean, close enough, but really improved. And they kind of hunkered down and had Camp Ron Hunter during their shutdown. I'm guessing on these dates from about the 15th of December until about the 28th or so.
Yeah, and that's the other thing. You just say, well, maybe you're just got a lot of bad luck too, because honestly, I thought after Memphis had beaten Alabama and they had that team meeting and they'd come together, I thought they were really ready to go. Everybody was healthy at that point.
Yep.
We'll never know, and it's easy to say this, hard to back it up, but I thought they were ready to get Tennessee in Nashville. We'll never know, but they didn't get that chance, and that is just lousy, rotten luck.
No question about it.
It really is, because Tennessee, it's pure D scuffle for them on the offensive end.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, well, they're not playing as well as a lot of people thought that they would. That's for sure. I don't think Fulkerson's having a great year. Vescovi's been pretty. Wait. He's changed his name. Did you know he's done
Vescovi
thing? He's now
Vescovi.
I'm sorry,
yeah.
Vescovi.
Yeah. Make sure
he's been there 9 years and he changed his pronunciation.
Yeah.
What about John Fulkerson? He's been there 10 then. If Vescovi's been there 9.
Came right in after Ernie and Bernie, didn't he? John Fulkerson.
Fulkerson, he's probably DeAndre Williams' age.
Yeah, he's right there. Now,
hey, there's that kid Jackson at East Carolina. There's no kidding. He started at UConn. He went to New Mexico. Then he went to Arkansas. This is his first school.
Well, what a life. You get an NIL check and a Social Security check.
How about Josh? The 2 names that I've been seeing this year that keep popping up. Josh Carlton at Houston. He was at UConn to start his career. I don't know if he made another move. But Nasir Brooks is at Ole Miss this year. You remember him from Cincinnati.
He's been a lot of places.
He's been he was at Miami. He's been a lot of places.
And he's been bad at most.
I'm telling you, Vince Jackson takes the cake. He's been to 4 D1 places.
Real quick before we get you out of here, Dave, Tigers have a DC, have an OC. It was a big offseason. Defense coordinator, they get Ohio State secondary coach Matt Barnes.
Love.
And offensive coordinator, they get Marshall OC Tim Cramsey. What do you think about both those hires?
I like them a lot. I mean, Matt Barnes comes from a Power 5 where he's actually 2 different schools now. He's called the defensive plays.
Call the shots.
One I think is a linebackers coach. The other is a DBs coach.
Right.
And I like what he said yesterday about being totally multiple and disguising things. And sometimes there may be 4 guys because he was playing a 4-2-5, which is an interesting way to go. And I love this guy from Marshall. I don't know if you guys listened. Several weeks ago, I just threw out the top offenses in the country that were not Power 5. And that was because I didn't think you could get an OC from a Power 5, and I wanted to have a mind in here that had excelled. And this guy, Cramsey, he's been not just at Marshall. He was at Sam Houston State when in 2017 they led the country in about 7 different offensive categories. And then look what he's done with developing the 2 kids that he developed, Green what is it, Dave Wells, at Marshall. I mean, Wells threw for over 3,000 yards, and he's going to have Hennigan right there. I'm telling you, I'm really excited. I think Ryan did everything the right way. The transfer that's coming from Northern Illinois was the freshman of the year in that conference
from a good team.
Yep.
It's really a positive thing that has happened thus far. In the loss of McIntyre and Johns, you've gotten really solid guys that give you a lot of hope. And, Ryan is, if there's one thing that he's been pretty consistent in, he's been a very good recruiter. Mm-hmm. Almost every guy he gets has been a 3-star guy. Now, you've got to get probably in the portal some wide receivers, because I like the running backs. I like the line. I love the quarterback, but you've lost your 2 best guys that caught the ball, your tight end and Sean Dykes and Calvin Austin. And they're not coming back, so you're going to have to find some guys, and that's what the portal should be for in this day and age.
And this is what I'll leave it at. The OC fit it makes more sense. A spread offense type of guy who really has attacked the run game. He's sort of a Chip Kelly disciple. It makes a little more sense than Kevin Johns did. I think at times Kevin Johns was forcing himself to use the run game rather than really wanting to implement it, because he is an air raid guy by trade. That's sort of what his style was.
Right. Well, let's remember where the buck falls. Right. It always goes back to the head coach.
Of course.
And Kevin came after he left Kingsbury. He came here with Norvell. It was Norvell that hired him, and Ryan kept him. But that was a collaboration. I mean, Ryan was in on what they wanted to accomplish. There is no question in my mind about that.
Yep. But Dave, appreciate it, man. Went a little late.
You got it. Have fun.
Thank you, Dave. Thank you very much.
See you tomorrow. Bye-bye.
You got it, man.
He is the voice of the Tigers. You can also hear him from 10 to 11 on Wolo and Friends with Jay Morgan Harder, who's in producing for us today. We have to get to a break. When we come back, have a little bit of news out of college football and the transfer portal, and some good transfer portal news for the Tigers right here on Sports 56 98.5.
The all-new Sports 56 Mornings with Greg Gaston and Eli Savoy. Brought to you by Action 24/7, James Gaddis Jewelers, and Acura of Memphis. Weekday mornings from 7 to 10 right here on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
It's a new year. That means it's time for a floor model sale at Family Leisure. You can help Family Leisure make room for all the new 2022 products that are coming in. All floor models are priced to move right now. If it's on the floor, it's on sale. But you better hurry to get these special savings, because once these floor models are gone, folks, they're gone. We're talking theater seating, massage chairs, arcades, foosball and hockey tables, all on sale. Shuffleboard tables, pool tables, they're on sale too. Plus, there's so much more on sale, and you can get New Year's deals on spas and swimming pools as well. Family Leisure needs the room for new inventory. So what's here has got to go. You can help them. The floor model sale is happening now at Family Leisure, Whitten Road at I-40, where family and fun come together. Happy New Year from our good friends at Family Leisure.
I know you've been waiting a little bit longer than normal.
Jen's manicure spot needs an extra pair of hands.
Who's at the front desk right now?
Someone who's handy with everything from nail files to spreadsheet files.
Deirdre's not coming in today, but we have that whole bachelorette party.
Indeed can help her hire great people fast.
I need Indeed.
Indeed you do. Instant Match instantly connects you with quality candidates whose resumes on Indeed match your sponsored job description. Visit Indeed.com/credit and get $75 towards your first sponsored job. Terms and conditions apply.
Gossett Mitsubishi on the Pike is where you'll find the most bang for your buck. Take your pick with adventure-ready 2022 Mitsubishi Outlander Sport or highest safety-rated 2022 Eclipse Cross. Ready to ride at $349 a month. And this is not a lease. You own it. Want 31 mpg highway in your SUV? We Gossett with 2022 Mitsubishi Outlander. Now $398 a month. Plus, at Gossett Mitsubishi, you always get our stellar 10-year, 100,000-mile powertrain limited warranty. So for our best deal, look no further than Gossett Mitsubishi, 1870 Covington Pike, or shop online at memphismitsubishi.com.
If you want it, we got it at Gossett Motor Cars.
All 72 months at 2.9 APR, 3,000 down, 500 loyalty rebate, 500 military rebate, Sport NU 001422, MSRP 27010, Cross NZO 49092, MSRP 27,000, Outlander NZO 53093, MSRP 29615, includes all rebates and incentives, PF 695, excludes tax title and license with approved credit. See dealer for complete details. Offer valid through 1/31/2022. Dealer stock only.
Is your bank standing in the way of you and your sportsbook? Try Action 24/7. We're cutting out the middleman. Deposit or withdrawal in cash. No more bank delays or failures. Action 24/7 has more than 100 partners in Tennessee for cash deposits and withdrawals. Visit action247.com for a location. Cash deposits and withdrawals from your Tennessee sportsbook. Action247.com. You got action.
Must be 21 and older and in Tennessee. For problem gambling support, call 800-889-9789.
Now, back to Sports Time on Sports 56. This hour is brought to you by Lexus of Memphis. Here once again are Brett Norsworthy and Gabe Kuhn.
Get it? Text a message, I don't know the number.
Back rolling. Sports Time on Sports 56 with Gabe and Stats. Jay Morgan Harder producing the program today. Autos on listener line 901-360-8255. You can also message us on our socials, Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, and at sports56whbq.com. In college football, we have a lot of transfer portal news. The good news for the Tigers, they landed another good transfer, this time from Duke. They land transfer D tackle Gary Smith, 6'2", 320 pounds. Last year, played a relatively big part for that Duke D-line, even though that Duke defense was not all that great. Recorded 33 tackles, 1 sack, 2.5 tackles for loss in this past season. He is from Shelbyville, Tennessee, so sort of a move back toward home, and that's the idea. But Memphis, this offseason, we talked about winning the transfer portal, Brett, and they are doing it so far. Northern Illinois running back Jay Ducker, Florida State offensive lineman Ira Henry, Iowa State wide receiver Joseph Skates, and Syracuse linebacker Jeff Canton-Arku sort of add to that transfer noise they've been making. So the Tigers have done their best so far this offseason. I think they made 2 relatively good hires at OC and DC.
I do too, Gabe, and I think we're getting ready to settle in for all our portal news for a little while until the spring semester starts, because I guess we still have to go through the dance of them actually acting like college students and being in school.
Yeah, they do have to do that.
And most second semesters are have started or getting started this week or next, isn't it?
Yeah, it is kind of confusing, isn't it? Where they sort of commit and sign.
I mean, do we still have to at least fake it that we're going to school?
They're taking online walking, Brett. It's okay. They'll be all right. I don't think they're going to miss all that much.
Goofiest class you took, if we got your transcript out, what's the zaniest class you took?
I just said it. Online walking. No, not kidding. That was the class I took. Yes.
I went to a liberal arts college, so they didn't give me many weird classes to take. They were all weird.
Just like Matt Leinart for me, ballroom dancing.
I also took online Pilates.
And it was great.
I still have pictures saved of my Pilates poses. No, you cannot see any of them.
I took math patterns by correspondence.
I want to see Brett ballroom dance a little bit.
I could cut it up right now if you wanted me to. Look out,
Brett,
Travolta.
You're cutting up a rug?
It was great too, because it was about 30 people in the class, and it was 25 girls and 5 guys.
Fantastic.
So you had your pick of dance partners.
There you go. That was a smart move, Brett. You knew what you were doing scheduling that. That's good stuff.
Ballroom dancing.
Also, we talk about transfer portal news slowing down, but here's another one. Tennessee transfer quarterback Harrison Bailey commits to UNLV. So he and Tate Martell, are they going to fight it out for the starting quarterback role? What's going on?
Vegas football. Even hurt more by the Raiders coming to town.
Someone's going to have to give me the exact answer on that. You know Tate Martell. You're familiar with Tate Martell, right?
Oh, he's been at 8 or 9 places.
Is he still around?
He has to be, doesn't he?
Because he sat out 2 years. I think he's only been even eligible like 2 seasons, and in one of them he got a full year back. So
the most legendary quarterback in his own mind, I'm telling you.
Oh, remember that documentary?
He's kind of Shea Patterson without the game.
He is a legendary name in college sports without ever having really played it down.
Brock Berlin.
It's unbelievable. That'll do it for hour number 1. We'll come back for hour number 2. We're going to start off with Brett Beard talking some college football right here on Sports 56 98.5.
Tire pressure light on? Tread low? Car sliding when you stop? It's time to go down to Milton on the Spot. Serving you at 3 locations, 1684 Getwell Road, 2127 Ellis Presley, and 3691 North Watkins. Memphis' largest supply of new and used tires, all under warranty. Yes, that's warranty on used tires too. Ask about the tire rotation and balance specials. Milton on the Spot on Getwell Road, Elvis Presley, or North Watkins. Here to take care of your every tire need. Milton on the Spot.
Have you wanted to speak a new language but thought it'd be too difficult or take too much time? Then try Babbel. In just 15 minutes a day, Babbel teaches you conversations that you will actually use. With 14 languages and lesson topics like travel, business, relationships, and more, you'll learn what matters most to you. Babbel. Language for life. Learn a new language with ease. Go to Babbel.com to try for free. That's BABBEL.com.
I want to do some bragging rights. Hey, I was just the other day overhearing a conversation with Big Mike, the manager of DeSoto Auto Sales. They've got people buying cars all over the country. North Carolina, South Carolina, Georgia, Alabama, Arkansas, Texas. People from all over the country buy cars at DeSoto Auto Sales in Olive Branch, Mississippi. Why? DeSoto Auto Sales has the most stringent car inspection in America. They get it right the first time. Quality and low mileage, factory warranty on most vehicles. My favorite part is the people who work there. Big Mike, all the employees are professional, friendly, and go that extra mile. Expect as you walk in the door, you're treated like family. DeSoto Auto Sales understands your time matters. We can help you find your dream car and get all the paperwork finished in less than an hour. Come see us at DeSoto Auto Sales and be part of our family. Have a great buying experience every time. 662-890-7184.
If you need glass replaced, there's only one name you need to know. Binswanger Glass, the largest full-service glass company in the U.S. They've been an industry leader for over 145 years. For all your residential, commercial, or auto glass needs, Binswanger Glass is the name you need to know. 24-hour emergency service for all commercial customers, plus a nationwide warranty on all professionally installed glass. Visit Binswanger Glass in Midtown at 340 South Hollywood across from the Liberty Bowl. Visit binswangerglass.com. Binswanger Glass.
Ole Miss Rebel Yell is back. The Rebel Yell Hotline Radio Show is back on WHBQ Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. Every Monday night at 6, hear the latest news on your Ole Miss Rebels with Yancey Porter with 24/7 Sports, former Ole Miss defensive tackle Mike Fitzsimmons, Gordon Ford covering SEC Sports Call, and former Ole Miss baseball announcer Gary Darby. From kickoff to free throw to extra innings, your Ole Miss Sports on the Rebel Yell Hotline Show right here Monday night at 6 on Sports 56, 560 AM and 98.5 FM. Your Mid-South Sports Station.
We are Sports 56 WHBQ Memphis and W253DF Memphis, Flynn Broadcasting Stations. Now back to Sports Time on Sports 56. Here once again are Brett Norsworthy and Gabe Kuhn.
Hour number 2 is upon us. Gabe and Brett with you. Jay Morgan Harder producing the program in place of Bryant Dacus today. We go ahead and bring on our good friend Brent Beard, talking some college football at Brent Beard on Twitter. Brent, how are you?
Hey, Brent.
Well, I am trying my best to keep up with the transfer portal.
Good luck.
It's tough out here.
Good luck.
That LSU has cornered the market on as of this moment. It seems like every other tweet somebody's going to LSU. So, but we will do the best that we can. That certainly makes the off season a little more interesting, doesn't it?
Yeah. Did I see they got a Wingo today? Makai Wingo? Is he a St. Louis guy? I can't remember.
I want to say he's Ronnie's little brother.
Yeah, Ronnie. And then there was he had another brother that went to Mizzou. Really fast guy. I played him in high school. The first name escapes me, but
their dad was a good ball player.
Long time.
In the day.
Yeah, they played at SLU High School. I don't know where Makai went, but he's the youngest of all of them.
SLU High School, Rob Fisher's alma mater.
Really? He went to SLU?
Oh yeah.
Oh, Brett, I've never told you. We gave in high school. At Lafayette, we gave them the biggest butt whooping of their lives.
You got to let Rob know about it.
62-14. Yeah. I'll never forget.
Sportsmanship rule. Brent, we've already gotten a Brock Berlin mention in today.
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah. And Gabe said he didn't think he'd cross that off his bingo card today.
No.
When you go back in years past, and I'm not talking about anybody that got hurt because, look, the greatest running back in the history of my hometown signed with Oklahoma, was recruited by everyone.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think he ever had a college carry. I mean, he literally got hurt first drill while he was OU. I tell you what OU did do in the 70s. They honored every year of his scholarship.
Wow.
He stayed there the whole time. You wouldn't see that now anywhere.
Way.
So injury being the exception. But we could almost compile an all-star list of names that created a lot of furor on signing day and then really just didn't do a whole lot. Brock Berlin, insert here.
Well, Lenny Patrick from my Walker High School in Jasper, Alabama.
The Walker Vikings.
Was one of the greatest running backs in high school that I've ever seen. Went to Alabama and really never did a whole lot. Even Coach Bryant even mentioned on his Sunday show one afternoon he'd give anything to be able to reach him. He had a run against Auburn that he probably broke half a dozen tackles. And Brad's seen this, I'm sure, Gabe, that when you're at Alabama at a game, you will see Patrick in that run, but never really he came anywhere near living up to hype.
Well, one thing that hurt him is all the comparisons, him versus Bo, and Bo just he darkened the universe. He blotted out the sun. He was so good. I think of a guy like Jasper Sanks. It was so much made of him coming out, and then there were some really sad stories like Cecil Collins at LSU and Dante Walker at Mississippi State. But Brent, we know through the year, and it's going to happen with these portal guys. Absolutely. I mean, I always think the grass is greener, but we're going to live to see in these rivalry games, third Saturday of October, Iron Bowl, Egg Bowl, Cocktail Party, Red River Shootouts. You pick your rivalry game out from around the country. We're going to have a guy that's the star one year for one side and the star the next year for the other side.
Can you imagine him being the player of the game? To 2 years in a row for two different teams. So, I think that's probably a really good point. Portal numbers as of today: 1,194 Division I scholarship players have entered since August 1st.
It's unbelievable.
48 of them have withdrew. 545 have announced new schools. 47% of the portal players have announced new schools. 601. This is what Brett's talking about.
Have nowhere to go.
601 Division I scholarship players remain in the portal.
Yep, and have nowhere to go. And I've said this.
That's only
Brent,
about two per team, though, guys.
I'm all there for transfer portal. I like freedom of movement. I wish that there were opportunities like that for some of my teammates.
I like freedom.
I like that. But you get 1,000 guys in a portal, you're not getting 1,000 good decisions. You're just not. It's not possible. Let me pose this question, since Brett brought up this scenario where you have one guy on one side of the rivalry game flipping to the other side for the next year. Do you think that is a negative thing, or do you think that could create more intrigue in said rivalry game?
Well, it would certainly be.
It'd create something.
Well, I mean, that's.
I don't know if intrigue's it.
I don't know. I mean,
I'm not quite sure what it would do at that point. They really have got to put some parameters on the portal as far as dates are concerned. Look, college cannot be the NFL. It never will be. And hopefully it will never will be. But I do give them credit. I mean, for free agency and other things, that they have got it clear on the calendar. This is when you can do this. This is when it starts. This is when it stops. At some point, there have got to be some limitations to this. I was listening to Satellite today, and was listening to Rick Neuheisel, and Rick brought up the point. Now, I hope you're sitting down for this. Rick said I could see the day soon to where, and we're going to use this word that's often used in the NFL. It's a little bit different connotation, but you'll get it. He said, I could see the day coming up where we would have a trade between one school and the next school. I need a quarterback. I need a quarterback.
Well, we kind of have
You've
done
got a
that.
receiver that I need. Let's just trade. How far-fetched is that?
I don't think very far. And I love Rick Neuheisel.
That's very far-fetched. That's incredibly far-fetched.
Gabe, you know how incestuous all these football operation departments are. They've all worked with each other and know each other. And
Granted, but that would have to be you can't just trade players that don't want to necessarily be at the other school.
I don't know.
Somewhere we got to have a Kurt Flood in this, don't we?
Yeah, that's funny, Brett. I don't know. I don't know if Gabe. I don't know if they would call it that.
Right.
Frankly,
but we've almost seen it. I mean,
that's what I mean.
Caleb Williams transferring and following Lincoln Riley in all likelihood, probably going to commit to USC.
Right.
That's something that we're going to see.
Mm-hmm.
Jackson Dart getting out of there. We don't know where he'll end up, but I mean, to a certain extent, it's just. It's free agency. Trading is a different connotation. Trading,
and what if you're the guy that'll be traded for the player to be named later?
Or the washing machine. We really valued our washing machine, but we felt it was the right move at the time to offload.
But these rosters will have to become more concrete in the next few weeks because, Brandon, at some places in another 6 weeks, spring football starts.
Yeah, there's no doubt. Absolutely. And look, I'll be curious to see who it will be, but we'll have one or two schools start next month.
Mm-hmm. I've been
Gabe, what'd you prefer, the really early spring or the later spring?
Early as possible.
To get it over with.
Yes. Yeah. Spring football is a grind. It's a lot of different things, a lot of different
especially after
parts.
you make being a starter.
Yeah, it's a different process, and it's every other day practicing, but it's a different process than it is during the fall. The amount of classes, the class works a lot harder in the spring that you have to balance, so it's a lot tougher.
Right. Well, the thing you see too is if you start in February, I mean by the end of March you're basically done. But if you've got a spring game, you could be having that in freezing cold temperatures too. Mm-hmm. But I still think there, and again, we'll talk about this as it gets closer, but you still hear talk about could they play one of maybe the lower divisions in their state and basically have a game type thing. I still really wonder when we get that eager to continue the cash flow, if we may end up coming up with that in a few years.
Mm-hmm. I think there's some value to that. Something that Brett and I discussed earlier in the show is we had all these discussions about the SEC teams moving, Texas and Oklahoma moving to the SEC before 2024 and the contract ends with the Big 12. We talked about the college football playoff possibly moving to an expanded playoff before the 2026 contract ends. And then Jim Phillips comes out last week, of course, the ACC commissioner, and says now's not the right time to expand. And he sort of wants things to wait, wants to wait to see how much changes in college football before we expand the playoff. What did you think of his comments, and do you think there's some validity to what he had to say?
I think that a lot of that was rhetoric. Look, and we cover the ACC pretty closely here, like you guys do, because Florida State and Miami are in the state. But and look, to me, the Pac-12 is the same way with this. Look, when Clemson's not playing well as it was not this year, the only way the ACC is going to get a team in the playoffs is if you expand it. The same way with the Pac-12, that they ought to be jumping up and down and in trying to get these commissioners to be able to do the same thing. I don't think and look, I'm all for player safety, but that's not an argument to keep from expanding. I mean,
right.
I mean, we heard that rhetoric back in the '60s and the '70s. For that matter, there's still a lot of folks who, and I've seen some writers with this over the last few days, talking about Phillips' comments. You have to dig deeper with that, and that he denied it. But one of the things that he may be trying to do, and they may be trying to do, and I don't think it's going to work necessarily, but to push Notre Dame into a corner and get them to come and join the conference.
So you
Good
mentioned
luck pushing Notre Dame.
Yeah, that is a good.
No,
I
agree.
So the big part that you just mentioned about Jim Phillips' comments was the player safety thing. Talked to Clemson players about 15 games. Isn't there an easy fix to that, Brent? Just maybe cut out one of those nasty non-conference games against the FCS opponent and just move on with our lives.
I don't have any problem with that. I think the my only hesitation, Brent helped me with this, is I'm thinking about, Gabe, if you cut out a game in Oxford, Tuscaloosa, Baton Rouge, wherever, who is that going to hurt as far as the town?
That's a good point.
That's my main concern.
Because they live for 7 weekends a year.
Yes,
right.
Yes. And if you just have 6 or you just have 5. How fair is that to your hometown?
Yeah.
Where your university is.
That's true.
Brent, that is an extraordinary, great take. Exceptional. And also this one, with Oklahoma and Texas coming in, and you already have it, you know how vital the cocktail party is to your city of Jacksonville. If we cut that game, that would almost force Red River and Cocktail Party to own campus.
Yeah. Well, and look, I can only speak for Jacksonville here. Jacksonville has fought tooth and nail to keep that game here, and they've got a contract through like 2025 in order to do it. Now, I would say
the fight gets a little harder every time, doesn't it?
It does. There's no doubt about that. And could I see that happening one day? Probably. I mean, Georgia, this amuses me greatly, but Georgia's talking about how it's hurting their recruiting. Okay.
We only signed 25 stars. We would have gotten 23 if we'd had it on campus.
Yes, thank you. Georgia and Alabama, those two teams in America who are in the top 6 every year over the last 5 years. I don't think having it in Jacksonville has hurt him have it.
Brennan, you did not do it, and I think, I'm going to let you speak for yourself, of course, but I think you still are like me, and it's getting fewer and fewer of us. I still really admire Dabo Swinney. And when we talk about Dabo Swinney in the 2021 football season, it's with a little bit of collective derision. He won 10 football games. He did go 10-3. That's how high the bar that he got at Clemson, that he got them there. He also got them something else. He got them to quit Clemsoning in his time at Clemson. And I know he cuts a lot of different ways, but I know the really good side and the survivor story and the rough and tumble and nothing being easy for Dabo Swinney and him being the last guy on the roster and getting some Dabo, he did have a pretty big block punt in the Iron Bowl in '92 in the national championship year, didn't he, Brent?
Yeah. And listen, I'm with you. The narrative is almost, well, Dabo's forgot how to coach. Really?
He's only propped up by that galaxy of star coordinators.
Yeah, that's the question that I have. How dependent was he on Brent Venables and Tony Elliott by the end of that thing?
Well, he was dependent, and that's from the Gene Stallings school that he went to.
Yeah.
And Gene Stallings went to the Tom Landry Bear Bryant school.
The CEO.
You let your assistants coach.
He's the CEO, head coach.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, absolutely. Now, and he is hesitant to bring in transfer kids too. And look, I give Dabo a lot of credit. He's got standards and values, and in that basically kind of generates from everything that he does. I mean, listen, they will be fine because I don't think it will take them very long to reload. That they've certainly got to get better at quarterback. But and the reason I say that is
they missed on DJU. They missed.
Did. He really did, didn't he?
After what, 3 straight with they went Taj, Deshaun, Trevor. Well, it's hard to go 4 for 4.
Taj Boyd deserves more flowers. By the way,
really does.
So
Gabe, he sure does. Taj Boyd needs his statue at Clemson.
He does.
Yeah, I agree with that very much. But I'll say this.
Who had Taj Boyd on the bingo card today? Come on now.
How about that? It's amazing what we come out with on this segment. But
it really is.
But because Miami and Florida State are in still such a flux, and I really like Dave Doran and what they've done at NC State. Can they really push past it? Mac is kind of up and down in North Carolina. At this point, Virginia Tech starting over. So to me, it won't take long for Clemson to reload. But I'll say this, and I still talk to a lot of I still hear this 2 or 3 times a year, that when and he's not ready, but when Nick Saban retires, if that was to happen today,
right,
that Dabo would still get the first call.
If Mama called.
Mm-hmm. You bring up Miami. What's your feel on Miami with Mario? And there also is the conversation today about them possibly attracting Kendall Briles to be their OC.
Yes. Yeah, and he's done a good job at Arkansas.
Great.
Kendall was also at FSU, so he knows the state. I like Mario. He's a really good recruiter who keeps some of those kids in Coral Gables. But here's my thing with Mario. He's still got some seasoning to go. And the reason I say that is, as good as he was at Oregon, they still had some inexplicable, mystifying losses every year that he was there. And I'm just guessing that's probably part of being a young coach and feeling your way. But of the guys they've hired recently, if Mario can't get it done I don't know who can.
And I got to be honest. I mean, looking at Mario's career, he has been very blessed to be in the right spot at the right time, being the O-line coach at Oregon at the time he was, to get that job after Florida International, he didn't really impress all that much. You're talking about a couple
that
bowls.
Should be a career ender.
And then final year, 3-9 at Florida International. Mario has a lot to prove. I thought, though, last year getting the win at Ohio State was going to be sort of the jumping point for him. And it really wasn't.
Well, and by the way, you mentioned the FIU situation. I think he went there like Lou Holt said when he made all his mistakes. What was it, NC State? Holtz always says that.
William and Mary.
Yeah, and William
Coach
and Mary. Absolutely. And I think that you'll hear that for Cristobal at FIU. But yet, the other reality in that situation, the AD had his buddy he wanted to hire, which was a mistake, but that just freed up Cristobal to go. I think he'll be okay there. But look, that's going to be a long rebuild. That they're beginning to get some players to come off the wallet to help them with some resources. They don't have what they need down there yet, and that's not going to happen overnight. And guys, those glory days there may never, ever happen again.
Yeah, we will have to see. We'll keep an eye on it. Brent, always appreciate it, man. Thanks for
guys.
for joining us.
Take care.
Thank you, Brent. Thank you, Brent. Brent Beard with us, and I promise you we're going to get him into some college basketball starting soon. I swear I had it in my notes today to ask him. Tonight, Mike Krzyzewski makes his last trip to Tallahassee in the ACC to play Leonard Hamilton, as this is the last year for Coach K, and we'll be keeping an eye on that tonight. But that's one thing I do have down. I want to watch Paulo tonight. Belly Acres, their motto, City-Fied Farm Fresh, and they have accomplished it. The goal is simple, to provide a fun, unique farm-to-table experience for the entire family. 2 great locations now, Regalia at 6130 Poplar and in Overton Square at 2102 Trimble Place, but coming soon in about 2 months, 3 months, late spring, early summer to Silo Square. signature burgers made from 100% grass-fed beef, sandwiches, salads, and the best milkshakes anywhere. The food all very, very, very fresh. The burgers like the Dare Ya or the Double Dare Ya and the melt in your mouth, and you must try the Voodoo Moo Moo. All the food is so good. You can watch them preparing it in the locations. It's right there laid out in front of you. It's the quality brand, the Belly Acres team. They've developed using grass-fed beef with creative homemade toppings in a fun farm setting right here in the city. The goal at Belly Acres to become even more sustainable as they grow, and they have now in Overton Square in Regalia and soon to Silo Square. The very best quality available in Memphis. It's at Belly Acres. Burgers, shakes, smiles. You get it all at Belly Acres.
So how about this, Brett? We brought up Tate Martell already today. We brought up names that never really made a splash in college football, but were big names in recruiting. Tate Martell, one of them. It turns out we bring up his name on the day that he officially retired from football. He had one more year that he could participate at UNLV.
Wow.
He says he will focus on his business ventures moving forward. And I know he was part of like the NFTs before the year with Mackenzie Milton, De'Aaron King, and the whole 9 yards. So I don't know what else he has to do in regards to business ventures, but he is done with football officially.
The NFTs.
You want to take a guess?
Is it real money out there in the NFTs? Real money?
In certain situations.
Not monopoly money, not make-believe.
I mean, Jay could probably speak on this too, but I don't see the value necessarily. In certain situations, I understand that people are making good money off of them, but it's basically like buying art.
Or like buying a trading card or something like that. Something
like that. I mean,
sounds like the airplane game to me.
Yeah.
First in wins.
Have you want to take a guess at Tate Martell's final stat line as a collegiate as a quarterback in 4 years?
Good question. All right, here we go, Jay Morgan, because I asked you during the break over and under 15 college touchdown passes, and we both said categorically under.
26 for 35, 303 yards, 1 TD. 0 interceptions.
One?
Not even close.
15. We could have said it at 1.5.
Yeah, you could have said it easily at 1.5. I might have gone
Billy
under.
Bearfield eclipsed that.
And if that doesn't show you that stars and recruiting mean absolutely nothing.
My goodness.
My goodness. I agree. I mean, that's
so, Gabe, he in his college football playing career, he had one more touchdown than you.
One more touchdown than a dead man.
Well, to be fair, he had he did have a couple of rushing touchdowns at Ohio State. To be fair.
Okay.
So so he has 3 total touchdowns.
So did Archie Griffin, but
only 1 passing. So 3 total touchdowns. Good
Don
for
Terry
Tate
Poe
Martell.
had a touchdown passing in the NFL.
Yeah, he did. That's impressive career. Impressive career from Tate Martell put together.
That's one of the great Mike Vrabel nuggets. I think he was targeted. I think this is correct. 10 times as a receiver.
Caught a bunch of them.
And he caught all 10.
So
Every time he caught, he had 10 catch. I think check that, Jay Morgan. I think he had 10 touchdown receptions as an NFL player and 10 receptions. Every time he caught a pass, it was for 6.
And he was good on defense too. I mean, he was a good player. He was a good player all around. I like that red zone sort of offense they ran with him too.
Oh, I do too. And then last night, you saw the athletic prowess of Odell Beckham. Les Miles told me one time at SEC Media Days, he said if it was a punt, pass, and kick contest for modern players, he said Odell would win it by, he said we can line him up at 48-yard field goal. On the right hash, he makes it. On the left hash, he makes it. And then you saw his arm last night. The trade for Odell, the Rams, they won that trade, if for no other reason, last night's performance.
Brett, they said they didn't complete that pass one time in practice when they practiced it and still ran it last night. But nonetheless, 10 receptions for Mike Vrabel, 14 targets, though. So 4 missing. But still, 10 for 14, not bad.
That's pretty good.
That's pretty good percentage. So that's unusual because most gadget plays, every time in practice they work perfectly, and then get in the game and it's a train wreck when you run it going, who in the world said that would work in a game?
Now, when we come back, I want to have this Odell Beckham Jr. conversation, and I want to get to the game last night as well as a couple of news nuggets out of the NFL. You're listening to Sports 56, 98.5.
You have opinions?
What do you hear? What do you say?
We want to hear them. Call or text us on the AutoZone listener line at 360-8255. That's the AutoZone listener line at 901-360-8255.
Get in the zone, AutoZone.
Gossett Mitsubishi on the Pike is where you'll find the most bang for your buck. Take your pick with adventure-ready 2022 Mitsubishi Outlander Sport or highest safety-rated 2022 Eclipse Cross. Ready to ride at $349 a month. And this is not a lease. You own it. Want 31 MPG highway in your SUV? We Gossett with 2022 Mitsubishi Outlander. Now $398 a month. Plus, at Gossett Mitsubishi, you always get our stellar 10-year, 100,000-mile powertrain limited warranty. So for our best deal, look no further than Gossett Mitsubishi, 1870 Covington Pike, or shop online at memphismitsubishi.com.
If you want it, we got it at Gossett Motor Cars.
All 72 months at 2.9 APR, 3,000 down, 500 loyalty rebate, 500 military rebate, Sport NU 001422, MSRP 27010, Cross NZO 49092, MSRP 27,000, Outlander NZO 53093, MSRP 29615, includes all rebates and incentives, PF 695, excludes tax title license with approved credit. See dealer for complete details. Offer valid through 1/31/2022. Dealer stock only.
You might not know me, but I'm Zip with the ZipCat construction app.
Why are you collecting leftover construction materials, Zip?
I'm turning it into cash.
That's easy. You can turn leftover materials into cash. Keep it out of dumpsters and help the environment.
That's why they call me Zip, the construction guru. Also, ZipCat app saves you time and money. Lets you describe a job, name your price, and get a job done.
That's smart, Zip. You're amazing.
General contractors, take a few minutes, price a job, and get it done. Download the free ZipCat app from the Apple Store or Google Play. Best tool in your toolbox.
I'm with Pat Donahue from the Rendezvous Shipping Kitchen. Pat, how are things downtown at the Shipping Kitchen?
Thanks, Brett. Wow, what a year it's been. 2020 threw a lot of changes at us. One of them was our great Memphis customers figured out how to ship our ribs all over the country.
Pat, we know you ship your ribs and shoulder all over the country. What are some of the other popular packages?
One of our most popular packages that's come out in the last year or two has been the barbecue nacho box. Well, our nacho box is an all Memphis box. It includes our pork shoulder. It includes our friends at Poncho's cheese dip. Also includes Brim's chips, Felicia Suzanne's peppers, a bottle of our barbecue sauce, a bottle of our famous seasoning, some reheating tips, wet naps, cook hats, and you can even throw in a box of Dinstall's Cashew Crunch for the sweet tooth.
And Pat, this ships overnight just like the rest.
Brett, it sure does.
Where do we order this great food?
You can get these boxes by visiting our website. Go to www.hogsfly.com.
In the Alley in Mr. Charlie Virgos' Rendezvous, a family-owned restaurant in downtown Memphis since 1948. It's a new year. That means it's time for a floor model sale at Family Leisure. You can help Family Leisure make room for all the new 2022 products that are coming in. All floor models are priced to move right now. If it's on the floor, it's on sale. But you better hurry to get these special savings because once these floor models are gone, folks, they're gone. We're talking theater seating, massage chairs, arcades, foosball and hockey tables, all on sale. Shuffleboard tables, pool tables, they're on sale too. Plus, there's so much more on sale. And you can get New Year's deals on spas and swimming pools as well. Family Leisure needs the room for new inventory. So what's here has got to go. You can help them. The floor model sale is happening now at Family Leisure, Whitten Road at I-40, where family and fun come together. Happy New Year from our good friends at Family Leisure.
If you want to make money in sales, Flynn Broadcasting wants you. If you can sell, Flynn Broadcasting has a great career waiting for you. If you can sell, we have great benefits, salary, commission, sales leads, and a great place to work. If you can sell, let us know today. Send your resume to jobs@flynn.com. Can everyone sell? No. But if you can, Flynn Broadcasting wants you. Apply today at jobs@flynn.com. Start your great career today at jobs@flynn.com. Flynn Broadcasting wants you.
Now, back to Sports Time on Sports 56. Here once again are Brett Norsworthy and Gabe Kuhn.
So we wrapped up Wild Card Week with a NFC West matchup last night. Rams versus Cardinals. It was not even remotely close. Rams win 34-11. And the one thing I'll say, Brett, that I noticed from the Rams that gives me hope for them going forward, that makes them, in my opinion, the team to beat in the NFC right this second, obviously outside of the Packers. We know that everything goes through Lambeau. but they played physical last night. And unfortunately, on the receiving end of one of those physical blows last night was Budda Baker. He has been sort of cleared and sent back to Arizona. He was responsive last night. We know that
it wasn't
hit was
dirty.
It wasn't dirty, but that hit was a very, very violent hit delivered from Cam Akers, and I thought the Rams defense did a good job of setting the tone.
And Cam Akers celebrated, got the penalty for taunting. He didn't realize the severity of the injury. Cam Akers was a wishbone run pass option RPO type quarterback in high school in Mississippi. He did not play tailback, and everybody wanted him. FSU got him, and he's gotten well, and he can help them now. And that defense, I texted you during the game, maybe more than some of the pretty guys, than the quarterbacks. Mm-hmm. It's as fun to watch Aaron Donald over a 3-hour game as anybody out there.
It's just unbelievable to see. He fires out so low. His hands work so well. He's so in sync with his feet.
Sneezes at a double team.
And again, yes. And we talked about it the other day. The resume he's building is just ridiculous. It's not even fair.
And he's nuts.
Yeah, and he is. And my response to your text, you said he's fun to watch play, and then right after that, he gets in a scuffle with DJ Humphries and starts punching him in the face. He might be insane because Aaron Donald is always getting in fights.
And last night, Von Miller gave him a lot, and I think it was Bryant yesterday that had Von Miller on his best on the defense right now. I didn't.
Mm-hmm. But I had him on mine too.
Okay, I'm sorry, and you did.
Just out of almost a career, I gave him a little favoritism there.
MVP of Super Bowl 50, Peyton Manning's last game. It wasn't a lot of offense in that game
with the Rams
that day
so far, though.
He
much.
hadn't. He hadn't, but now we're down to 8 teams, and this weekend, Titans and Cincinnati, they've met in the playoffs all time. It's 1-1 in playoffs. Kansas City and Buffalo, all time it's 2-2. Green Bay and San Francisco, all time it's 4-4. And then Rams and Tampa Bay, all time 2-0 Rams. And one of them was a big game in St. Louis.
I'm curious how that one goes because what Cam Akers has done in returning from his Achilles injury, I've never seen anything like it, Brett. I don't understand how that's possible. We're talking about a guy who's 6 months post-op on an Achilles running like he was running last night. I've never seen it. But I think the way the Rams O-line blocks that zone-heavy scheme they have, if they can get the ball running against the Buccaneers, they're going to have a big shot to run away with that game because their play-action game with Matt Stafford and those wide receivers is deadly.
Of the 8 teams left in the playoffs, I wouldn't say that anybody could win a Super Bowl, but it wouldn't shock me. I guess Cincinnati and San Francisco would be shockers if they won it. The other 6, I could see them holding the Lombardi Trophy. For the Titans, if they win a Super Bowl and he is integral, very instrumental to it, isn't Derrick Henry about the only one with just filling in the rest of the football card that someday his number could be retired by the Titans?
Yeah, I'd say so.
For Cincinnati, Joe Burrow's the guy. And Cincinnati's got one retired number ever, number 54. Bob Johnson from Tennessee, a center.
Well, let's
one.
I think that could be an argument for the Titans to talk about not having a lot of guys retired, not having a long history of your franchise.
Especially in Nashville.
Since Steve McNair, who's been quarterbacking that team at a high level other than Ryan Tannehill?
And since Eddie George, who's been a great running back. Well, had a couple good years.
CJ2K.
Yeah. On this year's team, outside of Derrick Henry, who is the name that you latch onto in all reality? Are we talking
Deontay Foreman?
A.J. Brown? Is that
A.J. went healthy, but he wasn't that healthy this year.
And also, we do.
It wasn't that consistent.
There is one name this year that you do have to give credit where credit's due. Jeffrey Simmons.
Jeff Simmons.
He was unbelievable this year.
Go,
all pro
defense.
Stud.
For Kansas City, he's probably but Mahomes already will go into.
Of course, no question. Kelsey.
Buffalo, I was stunned when I looked up Buffalo today, and it's not because of the legal trouble. They had not retired O.J.'s number and now probably won't, even reissued it a few years ago. For Buffalo, it's Josh Allen. If he led them to a Super Bowl, first one ever, number retired someday, right?
Right, and I don't know who else on that team is really there.
Hey, remember
Aaron Rodgers.
Shout out Micah Hyde. But Micah Hyde would not make the cut. He's a good safety, but he wouldn't do it.
Diggs stood on the field after the game last year to watch the celebration.
Yeah.
That's a Buffalo guy, true and true.
Yeah, Diggs, I guess you can make the case for.
Aaron Rodgers will happen in Green Bay, even if it ends acrimoniously.
He already has the one.
Aaron Donald, we talked about. San Francisco, I don't know a player, even with a great run through these playoffs, that would be elevated to retired number status someday. Do you?
Depending on the rest of his career, Deebo Samuel's probably the guy on this team.
That's a really good one, I think. Especially the way he ran the ball this year.
It depends on rest of career, because this is his breakout year. I mean, that's ran for 350 plus, caught for 1,300 plus, but he'd be the guy on this team. Defensively, they don't really have anybody that really jumps off the page at you.
And I did all this to
Nick
lead
Bosa?
up. Maybe so, maybe. I did all this exercise to lead up to this one. After just 2 years, Tom Brady.
Yes.
We know in New England it is.
He's won one, and year one with a different team. He has won a Super Bowl.
And Mike Evans.
It's almost he's gonna go. He's gonna be honored by the Buccaneers as well. Already, in my opinion, even after 1 year. Year two,
isn't he already the best Buccaneer quarterback in history?
Arguable. It's very. I mean,
statistical yards leader is Jameis.
You can't possibly.
Let's don't mention Jameis and Tom Brady in the same
sentence.
sentence.
Tom Brady, by the end of his career, I don't think he'll be able to catch up to anybody who was there for an extended period of time, because I don't know how much longer Tom Brady has, but Tom Brady has already cemented his legacy in Tampa. There's no question about it. I wanted to get to this, and you sort of brought it up before the break. Odell Beckham Jr. Are we still taking Baker's side on the whole breakup in Cleveland? Is that a possibility?
Well, we may, but Odell is vindicated. He is
very, in my opinion.
The trade was justified last night. Now, watch him have 3 big drops wide open.
Understood.
And that come back to haunt him, because that happens a lot with OBJ.
And yes, because he gets his eyes downfield. He's a big run after the catch guy. But we're talking about a guy who's been with that team for 9 weeks, including the playoffs, has 6 touchdowns in that span. He had 7 touchdowns his entire 29-game career with the Browns. And I knew I knew Odell Beckham Jr. could still play. There was a lot of people trying to be doubters, trying to say, does he still have it in him after all the injuries?
I was there.
Having to sit out.
I was doubting.
I knew he had it in him, but at this point, it is a shot, a full-on shot against Baker Mayfield as a quarterback. I'm there. I am officially there.
Long, lonely offseason for Baker.
Yes, and he's got 1 more year to prove himself. They're going to go into next year with him. And
I just wish people would remember their amount of success before he got there, which was none.
Right. And
I mean, he's elevated it.
And it's weird because I have a couple of friends who are Browns fans, and it's a weird sort of brain tease for them when it comes to Baker Mayfield, because he did get them to the playoffs. He did get them to a situation where they had hope. They are a better team, but there's a limit to the success that he has had, and I think could possibly have in the future.
Do we ever get a Jimmy Haslam in the owner's box shot in Cleveland like we do Jerry Jones?
I don't think so, no. We don't. I mean, we talked about it yesterday. It's Jerry, Kraft, who else?
Mark Davis.
Arthur Blank gets a few, but not.
Arthur Blank gets a little down on the field.
Yes, but nothing.
I don't see Jones on the sideline like he did when he was a younger man.
He still gives a press conference.
Yeah, he's everywhere.
Oh, he does.
Though. I mean, he's a weekly radio hit. He's all over the place.
Team Jerry.
And I did mention he does ask for it. He does ask for a lot of it.
Oh, he wants it.
Yes, he likes
Hall of Famer Jerry Jones. I say deserving too.
Now,
very.
We go from the OBJ Baker situation. One more thing before we get to break. The Athletic and Mark Caboli, I believe is how you pronounce it. He's a Steelers writer, and we'll talk to Bo Marchant all about this at 5 o'clock. But he's the Steelers writer for The Athletic. He said all signs point to Mason Rudolph being the starter for the Steelers next season.
dead end,
wrong way,
U-turn.
U-turn immediately. If
deer crossing.
Those are the signs. Those are the signs. If
Deer
all signs
Xing.
are pointing. I've seen enough from this guy. I've seen enough from Mason Rudolph. Have you, Brett? I've seen enough. I know what he is at this point, and it's not.
I saw him clocked over the dome too. I mean,
it always has been
when Myles Garrett went
right.
over the top rope,
and then he had the whole. I mean, the back and forth. He said a racial slur. Well, you hit him in the head with a helmet, and it just there was a whole lot of back.
It was
and
a bad
forth.
look night.
Mason Rudolph has definitely tainted his image to a certain extent. Let's be real.
Everyone at All-Star Chevrolet wish you a happy new year, and the best way to start it off is by visiting down on Kraft Goodman Road right off Highway 78. If you're ready for some car and truck shopping, that's the place to be. Or ready to sell any vehicle today. You may not realize the value you have in your already used vehicle. All-Star Chevrolet in Olive Branch, it's where you want to be. All the Silverados, all the Suburbans, all the Blazers, all the Tahoes, all the colors that you want, right there in Olive Branch. Ask for Kevin or Jeff or Drew or any member of the great team at All-Star. They'll show you all the choices that they have and more in the pipeline. Get down there this week because they're going to go in a hurry. You need to get to All-Star this week. Chevy friends, they've been there for you through the years, getting all the best 21s and 22s that you want. And I mentioned all the colors you can imagine. 0% financing is available, and your good credit, it deserves that. Go to allstarautogroup.com and look at all the pre-owned and certified pre-owned Chevys, Silverados, Suburbans, Tahoes, and go big. Check out that Corvette Stingray. If you want to sell any car or truck and get a check today, remember, it's not South Haven, it's not Mount Moriah, it's not the Pike, it's not Collierville. It's got to be Olive Branch. Find new roads to All-Star Chevy in Olive Branch or go to allstarautogroup.com.
We need to go ahead and get to a break, so we'll do that now. You're listening to Gabe and Stats on Sports 56 and 98.5.
Sports 56 Happy Hour with Johnny Radio, presented by Tito's Vodka, from 11 to 1 every weekday on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
Wilkinson's Liquor and Wine is celebrating their 35th year. Come in today and choose from a big selection of tequilas, vodkas, and over 70 different single malts. Bourbon whiskey fans will find over 200 bourbons and whiskeys from around the world, along with wines from every region for all you wine enthusiasts. Wilkinson's Liquor and Wine, 146 Highway 72, Suite 102 in Collierville. It's next to Captain John's Barbecue. Open every day, including Sundays from 10 to 7 for football and all sports fans. Wilkinson's Liquor and Wine, celebrating 35 years with you.
I often say they've set the bar for the way car business should be done at Homer Skelton Hyundai. You know how close that is. It's right there at Highway 78, Lamar Avenue, and Craft Road, the very first exit in Mississippi. I say it because they always come up with new innovations. And right now, when we've had all these shortages on new cars, Homer Skelton Hyundai is always going to come through for you. You won't pay more than the sticker price for a new car at Homer Skelton Hyundai. That's Chris True's pledge. You'll never pay more than sticker price. Those other guys, they could charge you a whole lot more for that new car because they know there's a shortage. That never happens at Homer Skelton Hyundai. That's part of the philosophy and the team that's been together for about 15 years now. You want the best of service? You want the best of products? It's the combination and the trust you'll always get from the best guys around. Homer Skelton Hyundai and Genesis of Olive Branch.
We're planning a trip to Spain later this year.
But our Spanish is...
It's pretty bad. So we're using Babbel.
Babbel's conversation-based method teaches you real-life words and phrases. And with Babbel's interactive bite-sized lessons, you'll remember what you learned.
There's no easier way to learn another language.
Ahora hablamos español.
He just said, now we speak Spanish.
Babbel, language for life. Now try Babbel for free. Just go to Babbel.com. That's Babbel.com.
Some things should just be left to the experts. Sure, you might be able to scramble an egg or make a piece of toast, but do you really think you can throw together a better breakfast than Sunrise on Jefferson? The cooks at Sunrise are the breakfast experts, making perfect breakfast after perfect breakfast, with the freshest ingredients, cooked with care, and cooked with speed. There's simply no better breakfast in Memphis. Go ahead, make some instant grits if you want to, but if you want real breakfast, you want Sunrise.
Now, back to Sports Time on Sports 56. Here once again are Brett Norsworthy and Gabe Kuhn.
Couple more news notes, some house cleaning out of the NFL. This is officially passed down from the Seattle Seahawks. They have fired their defensive coordinator, Ken Norton Jr., and their defensive passing game coordinator, Andre Curtis. They have both been with the team for the past 4 seasons, but that defense was no good this year, so they have moved on from Ken Norton Jr. and Andre Curtis. Also,
Ken Norton, a legendary league guy. All right, let's play the generational game.
Okay.
Jay Morgan, Bryant, Gabe. Y'all tell me who Ken Norton Sr. was. Ken Norton Sr.
Ken Norton Sr. Oh gosh,
Gabe's looking it up.
I don't.
Ken Norton Sr.
3 swings and misses.
Three swings and misses.
Legendary heavyweight boxer broke Muhammad Ali's
That's
jaw
a good pun.
on Wide World of Sports one Saturday afternoon, and later became heavyweight champion of the world, only to end up getting beat in rematch by Muhammad Ali.
Well, that's an interesting sort of. You go from heavyweight boxer, the dad, to son being a defensive coordinator.
Ken Norton, great linebacker at UCLA and really good with the 49ers and the Cowboys. Old number 51, Ken Norton Jr.
Now, also, when we're talking about coaching, I thought this was a nice note, and I thought Rich Bisaccia, for all that he had to deal with the second half of the season with the Raiders, I thought he did a heck of a job. And I think the Raiders need to at least give him a very hard look to be the next head coach for them. But did you see that he personally hand-wrote letters to every single player, including practice squad, on the Raiders roster for their hard work this season?
That's very kind.
I thought that's very, very kind. And I guess, let me gauge this from you. What do you think the likelihood is that he actually ends up with the full-time job?
Unless they've got their guy and they're being coy. If it's Harbaugh
is probably the only one that keeps him
But if
from
it's
that
not
job.
Rich Bisaccia, doesn't it have to be splashy?
Oh,
it
God,
can't just be coordinator. Most people don't know who it is.
You can't go get Brian Dable if you're gonna deny Rich Bisaccia the job. But
all right, generational part 2. Are y'all note writers, card senders, letter writers to anyone?
Oh,
Any of the 3 of y'all?
No.
Nope.
No.
Jay Morgan says he's a letter writer.
I've sent one.
I've
sent 1 or 2. We did letters every single year for Memphis football. We sent them to our family. Yep. So about 2 in my life.
Gabe, my fraternity at Fayetteville, we had to write letters home to your parents every Sunday night. I mean, if you just
all 4 years
wrote. No. Just while you pledged your freshman year.
Right.
And, I mean, if you just things are going great, hey, love y'all, put it in an envelope and hand it to someone. I mean, it had to be verified. If my penmanship was if it was just slightly better than it is, I would still be more of a letter writer. At one time, a prolific letter writer.
Brian, do you want to know why they sent letters when he was in college?
Hit me with it.
They did not have cell phones.
Oh,
contrary to popular
I didn't even
belief.
think about that.
We did not have cell phones.
Or
I didn't even have a phone in my room.
You had the was it still rotary? Did you have to?
I had to go to the house phone and make a collect call home my freshman year.
How about it?
Wow.
My gosh.
Of course, after 5. Dad,
How about this?
Well, if it was
How about
before
this?
5, Dad would really get irritated.
How about this? I am young, but I have still used a payphone in my life. Brian, have you used a payphone?
Not a working one, no.
I've gambled from a payphone at War Memorial Stadium.
How do you use a non-working payphone?
Well, you know, they have them set up as like, oh, look at this piece of history, and you can go up and like play with it, you know? I've done that before, but I've never.
Gabe, I can show you where a payphone was at Busch Stadium.
A museum exhibit does
Yeah,
not count,
okay,
Brian.
then no, I have not.
At old Busch Stadium, I can show you. I mean, and for Sports Talk Radio, man, you were looking for payphones in airports, around stadiums. If you were gone and having to join by phone, it was often you were on payphone hunt.
Yes. When did you first get a cell phone, Brad? Curiously.
19.
So you had this was the massive brick phone. No question.
I had a bag phone in 1995. The first cell phone I had that I didn't have kind of in the plugged into the lighter was 1999. Now, I was late to all this. I didn't get an email account until 08.
Wait, really?
Yeah.
Is it your WHPQ one?
No.
Oh, it's a different
no.
one. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's the one that I hate getting email to.
My gosh. I've never even seen a phone that you plug into the car.
Oh, yeah. I had a bag phone.
That's
it was a contraption, too.
Yes. I mean, the first cell phones were just ridiculous, man. Never broke either. I remember the old Nokias, like those little tiny.
Mm-hmm.
You could throw them at the ground a million times in a row, nothing would happen to them.
I love my BlackBerry.
Nowadays,
my BlackBerry was great. I loved it.
Nowadays,
that goofy toggle switch.
Nowadays, you drop your iPhone wrong, you have to get a new screen.
Yeah.
I've never broken one. I've never
have
dropped
you always
one.
had a case? Always had a case?
Wood.
No, I went forever. I didn't like the case.
Oh,
and I was just
Lord.
extra careful. But then I finally got a case on this one in spring of 2018.
When I see people without a screen cover or a case, it honestly
you
gives
play
me
with fire.
Oh, it
Well,
gives me
Steve Jobs
anxiety.
invented it to not have a case, so that's how it was invented.
It gives me anxiety, though. Well, you're gonna break it eventually. You're gonna drop it, and it's gonna crack immediately.
Steve Jobs, one of the big brains in the history of. I mean, up there with Einstein.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, the company that
Mount Rushmore of big brains.
Yeah, the company that he started, that he.
I guess Ben
ended
Franklin
up having to pass.
way
I
up
mean,
there too,
my gosh.
big brains.
Ben Franklin.
Came up with a light bulb.
Well, you know about Ben Franklin, didn't he?
I knew Ben Franklin.
Yeah, that's your time, Brett.
I don't mean to step on the history book that people may have learned from, but didn't Ben Franklin steal everybody's ideas and just claim that they were his? A lot of
Dave said a few years
Jim
ago.
said it's Thomas Edison.
Thomas Edison.
Okay. Sorry.
Dave said a few years ago, I missed a couple haircuts, and he said I was kind of working a Ben Franklin look. It was kind of all long in one area, none in another.
Let's get that back. Why
No,
not?
let's
I have
don't.
a good barber. I have a good barber, Brett. They could hook it up.
I got
for
a
you.
good one. I'm going Saturday morning.
You getting a skin fade?
Ooh,
you getting a taper fade?
As I always tell her, where there's hair, cut it.
You don't go full buzz though. I mean, you
Occasionally I
clip
do.
it up.
No, 2 summers ago was last full buzz.
Okay. Yeah, I have the new age cut when I get a cut. I sort of take a while in between haircuts though.
Me too.
Yeah.
One of the great
Fade
buzz
on the
cuts of all
side,
time was
long on
when
top.
when Britney Spears went full buzz cut.
Didn't she do that to hide from a drug? She didn't want a hair drug test, right?
Well,
that was the whole
was
story.
the year she was forgetting to wear drawers out too. So.
I don't know if you've seen much of Britney Spears. She every year since then she's forgot to do that as well because she's on Instagram right now posting.
They say her IG account is saucy.
It's,
Brett,
it's something
Brett,
like that.
It's I don't know if saucy is the right word. I mean, she probably has children that follow her, and that's a little terrifying. I mean, it's fully nude with.
Well,
no, she covers.
I
up.
ain't been to the IG. I don't know.
She puts little
She
images.
puts
over.
hearts over the
Yeah.
private parts, but still, I mean, she's all over the place. And then she has these weird dance videos where she stares right directly in the camera. Very uncomfortable.
Britney's age now. What?
In the 40s,
40?
right? In her
Yeah.
40s.
Probably.
She's approaching
40,
50.
I would say.
She's approaching 50. She's into her 40s.
Well,
by
now
now.
wait a second. If you're 40, that's not approaching 50.
No,
You're
she's
getting closer.
No, what I'm trying to say, I think she's well into her 40s by now. I would think. Bryant, we need an answer. Come on, before we get to break.
Give me 2 seconds. Looks like she's 40 on the dot.
4-0.
Right.
Big
Okay,
four. Boy, I
she's not
bet that was a
approaching
great
50.
party.
She's not free from her dad yet, though, is she?
Yes, she is.
She finally is?
Oh, yeah,
so,
she's
yeah.
liberated.
Yeah. Yeah.
Thanks
that took
to
a
the
while.
That's why it's saucy at the IG.
She took her IG back over, and we see what happens. That'll do it for hour number 2. When we come back for hour number 3, we have one more segment because we do have to accommodate our coverage of Ole Miss versus Mizzou. Tip at 6. The pregame show starts at 5:30. On the other side, we bring on Bo Marchant on NFL. We'll break down the divisional round and talk about these playoffs right ahead of us on Sports 56, 98.5.
Bartlett Small Engine has been serving quality power equipment since 1970. They have a full line of power equipment, parts, and services for most makes and models. Bartlett Small Engines has the best brands in the power tool industry: Honda mowers, trimmers, and generators, Steel blowers, trimmers, and chainsaws, Echo trimmers, blowers, and chainsaws, plus quality products from Red Mat and Shindawa. And they're all American made. Bartlett Small Engine is your can-do store. 6780 Summer Avenue. Call 901-386-9779.
I'm Gary York. I'm the service director at Lexus of Memphis. Our service department wants to be more than just a place where you get your oil changed. We do glass repair, windshield replacement, recalibration of your camera and sonar systems, even wheel repair, tire replacement, all the things you would expect from a luxury automotive dealer. Please check out our website. You can schedule your appointment, check out our specials, hours of operation, or if you'd like to do it in person, please reach out to one of our associates at 901-271-5199.
We're planning a trip to Spain later this year.
But our Spanish
is pretty bad. So we're using Babbel.
Babbel's conversation-based method teaches you real-life words and phrases. And with Babbel's interactive bite-sized lessons, you'll remember what you learned.
There's no easier way to learn another language.
Ahora hablamos español.
He just said, now we speak Spanish.
Babbel, language for life. Now try Babbel for free. Just go to Babbel.com. That's Babbel.com.
I'm with John Burgos in the alley at the world-famous Rendezvous. John, it's so good to see you. How are things at the restaurant?
Thank you, Brett. We are here and we're making it. I have to say a big thank you to all of our customers that ordered food during the curbside days, bought gift certificate when times were slow, ordered food to be shipped from our shipping kitchen, and then came back down to eat when our doors reopened. We owe a debt to the Memphis and surrounding community for supporting us when we need it. I hope y'all all come eat some barbecue with us, but I also hope you'll support our local restaurants. And if your service is a little slow or an item isn't on the menu that you enjoy, cut them a little slack. Hopefully it'll be there soon.
Thank you, John. We appreciate you for feeding all of us, and we will take that advice to heart.
Brett, we also have a new twist at the Rendezvous. We now have outdoor dining. It's in the side alley along the Rendezvous, not the one in the front. And depending on the weather and depending on staffing, please call ahead to make sure we're open. And we hope it becomes a mainstay here at the Rendezvous.
Mr. Charlie Burgos' world-famous Rendezvous in the alley in downtown Memphis. At Jason's Deli, when you're dining in or picking up curbside, you can expect wholesome food and no surprises, just delicious sandwiches, crisp salads, and quick quality meals made with the freshest ingredients and no artificial trans fats, MSG, high fructose corn syrup, or artificial colors and dyes. Around here, a lot of thought goes into what we put into our food and what we take out of it, because you're not just taking a bite, you're getting a taste of who we are. New items are constantly being created to expand our menu for all tastes and special diets with vegan and gluten-free options available. Convenience and on-time delivery you can count on. It's just a click away at jasonsdeli.com, so whether you need to feed 5 people or 5,000, the team at Jason's Deli, they have the credentials and the commitment to keep you satisfied. Freshness is nearby at Jason's Deli with locations at Ridgeway in the Park Place Center, Poplar and Highland, Germantown Road in Cordova, and on Goodman Road in Olive Branch. Jason's Deli. It's wholesome food and no surprises.
We are Sports 56 WHBQ Memphis and W253DF Memphis, Flynn Broadcasting Stations. Now, back to Sports Time on Sports 56. This hour is brought to you by DeSoto Auto Sales. Here once again are Brett Norsworthy and Gabe Kuhn.
Short sprint to the finish line for us as we have to get out a little early for Ole Miss Missouri pregame. David Kellum and the coach courtside in Oxford at 5:30. Tip at 6 o'clock tonight for Ole Miss and the Missouri Tigers. Bo Marchant to talk NFL with us coming up very soon. Brett Norsworthy here for FanDuel and the NFL playoffs in full gear, down to 8 teams, and everyone can get in on the action with a risk-free bet at FanDuel Sportsbook. It doesn't matter if you're new to FanDuel or if you already have an account. All customers get up to $10 back if your same-game parlay doesn't win. Same-game parlays let you combine multiple bets from one matchup for a big payout. And I know a lot of people are interested now in the Buffalo Bills. They've won me over this weekend. How about the Josh Allen rushing yards? Diggs over for receptions and an anytime touchdown from Ole Miss Rebel Dawson Knox. America's #1 sports book. It's easy to use, easy to place your bet, and fast payouts in as little as 2 hours. Already have an account? Place your risk-free bet. Same game parlay on any divisional round game to qualify. New customers join today with promo code CASH to get your risk-free bet. It's what we're trying to win is cash. That's why it's the promo code. Plus, if it's your first time betting at FanDuel, you can enjoy 30-1 odds on any team in the divisional round to win after using promo code CASH. You can turn a $5 bet into $150. That's promo code CASH. FanDuel, an official sports betting partner of the NFL. Must be 21 or older and present in Tennessee. Bonus issued is non-withdrawable site credit that expires in 7 days. Max bonus $10. Restrictions do apply. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Gambling problem, call the Tennessee Red Line at 1-800-889-9789. This hour of our show brought to you every day by DeSoto Auto Sales at 5704 Goodman Road and online at DeSotoAutoSales.com. They're very proud to serve DeSoto County and the surrounding area, and all the cars test-driven, thoroughly examined, bumper to bumper, and an unlimited inventory, every make, every model. No shortcuts taken at DeSoto Auto Sales. They treat you like family, kind, courteous employees, laid-back atmosphere, and they care about your time. They want you to enjoy the ultimate car experience. They know we live in a world today that time really matters. You walk in, within 45 minutes, find the car you want, credit approved, paperwork completed, and you're gone in time to get home and watch college basketball tonight. Heck, you can get home before the Ole Miss game tips off if you go to DeSoto Auto Sales right now on Goodman Road. Come on down to DeSoto County for that town and country experience at DeSoto Auto Sales. Bo Marchant joins us now, and Bo Marchant and all of Pittsburgh said goodbye to Ben Roethlisberger. Ben strolling in, first vote, 5 years into the Hall of Fame. And Bo, like everybody at the end, Father Time remains undefeated. It was time.
Yeah, it was time. I posted on Twitter the other day. I mean, Tom Brady, I think, jinxed these guys, and not only did he take advantage of most of these guys on the playing field, but he gave false hope to Drew Brees, Phillip Rivers, Eli Manning, Peyton Manning, Ben Roethlisberger, and thinking that, you know what, hey, you're doing it, I can do it too. And I think all those names that I mentioned, absent of Brady, they pushed the limit a little bit too far, and they could have probably exited it a little bit more elegantly. But you keep wanting to think, hey, you know what? I got a little left in the tank, and I love this game, and I don't want to walk away from it. But nonetheless, Hall of Fame career, 2 Super Bowls, 3 appearances, all the accolades, tons of statistics. Definitely first ballot, and we'll be in Canton in whatever year that 2026, 27,
summer of.
And yeah, no, I assume they'll have the Steelers hosting the Cowboys that weekend.
They will.
And now we head into the offseason to see what's going to happen with the quarterback position. It's been pretty held down for a long time with Big Ben. And there's been 2 sort of reports that come out, one from the Athletics, Mark. How do you say his last? Kaboli. Okay, I was right earlier when I said he said all signs point to Mason Rudolph. And Mike Tomlin actually came out today and said all options are on the table. What's your best feel of what the Steelers may do going into this offseason with that quarterback position?
I think they bring in a veteran. I don't think a big-name guy. It's just not their style. There's so many, I think, quarterbacks. I shouldn't say a lot, but, just say if the Giants elect to take Kenny Pickett or Matt Corral is 5 in the draft, then what do you do with Daniel Jones? Do the Steelers like Daniel Jones? Gardner Minshew, Marcus Mariota will be out there. I just find it hard to believe that they're going to stick with Mason Rudolph, especially, you can't get past the Detroit Lions this past year when they tied them. If there's one game that you have to win is against the winless Lions team when you're supposed to be the heir apparent to a Hall of Famer. And I've defended Mason Rudolph for a long time because when he usually did get his chances when Ben got hurt, a lot of that team was hurt as well. James Conner at the time was gone, Juju was out, so they were really lacking some offensive firepower. So, and then he got hurt himself. So I'm reluctant to say that Mason Rudolph is the starter day one. So that leaves us, do they draft another guy? And I don't know if this draft class, they're going to really have to get lightning in a bottle if they're going to find a guy in the first round that they can just plug and play at this point. And then I just think there would be more. It seems like the Steelers' way is finding a veteran that they kind of feel can get us, through a season or two, before we find that guy in the draft.
Right, and then they have the 20th pick in the first round. They have a decent amount of draft capital this year. How much should they target O-line in this year's draft with what their O-line is and has been the past couple of years?
Well, I think they should target it. I'd even target it before a quarterback in terms of, where they list these guys. It's, where they pick, and you guys know as well as I do, it's going to come down to the best guy available. And if they're not going to take the fourth best, say, offensive lineman when they can get, say, the top interior defensive tackle, or they need so many things. I mean, we saw it the other night. I mean, we know the Chiefs are tough, but the way that they were handled in the secondary, they could use a young influx of secondary safety, defensive back. The trenches need help. I think the skill guys after the quarterback, you could kind of say, hey, they're okay. We know Najee Harris is going to be a, Pro Bowler for years to come. But a lot of question marks, a lot of question marks. And that first round pick, I think you go offensive line or defensive line or quarterback or defensive back. I think those right now are the four main targets. Free agency is going to eliminate a lot of those stresses and kind of ease some of those strains on what they need. But nonetheless, looking at the Steelers roster, the 18th of January, I would think offense, defensive line, defensive back, and obviously the quarterback.
Bo, the first time I ever heard of Josh Allen was out of the Manning Passing Academy, and everybody that was down there that weekend at Nicholls State, they just came back raving about this guy's arm. And I followed him his senior year at Wyoming or his last year at Wyoming, and like a lot of people, I was nonplussed by it, like most of his early career. Well, not a lot of people, but I remained nonplussed. I'm very plus now. That was quite a performance, and he's got the goods to engineer the upset for Buffalo this week.
He does, and then real quick, the first time, I've heard of him, but I remember in Canada at Blue Bombers Stadium in a meeting, and we're right up, Winnipeg, Canada is right above North Dakota, and one of the scouts said, "Listen, we knew Carson Wentz, but they said there's a kid in North Dakota State. Listen, Wyoming. He's like, maybe we could bring him in, and lo and behold, it's Josh Allen, and we know the rest of the story." I've been thinking about this. The Rams at one point I thought were the best team in the NFL. The Bills I thought the Titans. And I maybe if I missed the team, but those are three teams throughout the year that I thought, wow, this is the best team in the league, hands down. Next weekend we're going to have a heck of a game. I think the only thing that kind of, and it means nothing, but to go to Arrowhead twice and beat the Chiefs, I think is a tall task, especially the way the Chiefs are playing. When the Bills went in the Arrowhead earlier this year, it was a much different team, a team looking to find themselves. They were out of sync offensively. The defense was lousy, but they've got those things corrected at the right time.
Mm-hmm. And the Bills, we've talked about it ad nauseum this year. They just, as far as running backs go, they need to find a running back that they can lean on, because I just get scared that they take a play off of Josh Allen's career every time they run him the way they do, and they run him a whole lot. As far as his offensive coordinator, Brian Daboll, how likely do you think it is he gets hired in this cycle?
I think he does. He's been doing this a few years. I think I even mentioned him last year as a guy that he really wasn't considered amongst some of these names that we always Eric Bieniemy, and we get he was retread hot coordinator. I'm thinking, how about this guy in Buffalo? I mean, he's kind of doing a lot, and there's so many openings. So it's just a matter of time. And there are so many candidates out there. It's nice to see that these NFL teams are really, really, it seems, at least publicly, that they're doing their due diligence, and they're just kind of not, having some guys come in for the token interview but they know who they really want behind the scenes. We've seen with no signings of, new coaches at all these places that, at least I hope that's true, that they really are really digging in and hoping to get the right system. All that said, I believe Brian Daboll will be a head coach come, a week or two or whenever the Buffalo Bills end their season.
Last year, I think most people were they were more than okay with Bruce Arians finally getting his Super Bowl. 2 years ago, the same thing, probably more unanimous for Andy Reid. Is there a coach out there this year that hadn't won it that you would really like to that you're really okay by if Mike Vrabel or Matt LaFleur or Sean McVay finally gets their title? It doesn't feel like there's that nostalgic pull this year.
Yeah, I agree with that. Me personally, and this is, I'm sure you could poll all your listeners right now, they'd have a different opinion. I just think Mike Vrabel oozes the game of football. He reminds me of the old
We were talking
school.
about him earlier.
Okay, and so, I mean, if I had to pick one guy and I just identify him as when I think of football and growing up and watching the legends that we still talk about today and the way that he played the game, I got to say, if I could give the trophy to somebody, I could give it to Mike Vrabel. So, but hey, they're all deserving. They all got their teams in the playoffs, but them going without Henry and being able to kind of earn that number one seed is pretty impressive.
So we had our fun with the Cowboys yesterday, but was there any other way that a Cowboys playoff run would come to an end besides some ridiculous,
cruel and unusually
stupid play at the end of the game with a referee running over Dak? There was no other way.
Bryant, this is approaching piling on, isn't it?
It's tough, yeah.
I mean, let's be real, Bryant. You even know this. There was no other way that a Cowboys playoff run could come to an end. It
wasn't going to be a simple 24-10
It had to
loss.
be that way.
Yep.
Yeah.
It was a debacle. It should have never even got to that point. They should have been in the game a lot earlier, and even if they would have come out on the losing end, it shouldn't. To me, they were really never in the game. But, I mean, you had to have this last minute heroic just to get into that position to win. There were so many things, and I think the bizarreness, and it kind of takes away. The players were lousy. I mean, 14 penalties I think they had. I mean,
most penalized team in the NFL this year.
Yeah, so there's so many things that just goes beyond that last play. I think it hides the fact of how bad they were, and they can blame McCarthy, but at the end of the day, they have the talent to play better, and they
great
didn't.
roster.
And
yes.
So yeah. Well, go ahead.
I would say how much do you question McCarthy though? How much do you question him after a call like that and backing it up in the press conference?
I don't want to get off topic of the Cows, but the one thing that I thought of, maybe Aaron Rodgers, as much as he complains, he was not a fan of McCarthy at the end. Maybe he's a little bit smarter than we give him credit for. So, because Mike LaFleur had that team, right? I mean, that's the one thing I thought of. Like, Mike McCarthy, 2 years in Dallas, they struggled last year. They had it going on, but disgraceful loss at home, first round of the playoffs, and I thought maybe Aaron Rodgers was on to something, and that's why I was like, I ain't staying here if Mike McCarthy's here. And
but your players have to play for you too. And I said it yesterday. Nick Allegretti for the Chiefs had as many catches and more touchdowns than C.D. Lamb.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but that offense has struggled though, and that's why I know not to take a thing out of Zoolander with Will Ferrell where he's on loony pills, but I just Kellen Moore is getting all this attention.
True.
There were so many games this year where the most potent offense that you would assume you kept waiting. Oh, it's going to come this week. CeeDee Lamb, Amari Cooper, Tony Pollard, Zeke Elliott, Schultz, Dak. 17 points.
Mm-hmm.
Next week they're going to go off 20. And this week, you're thinking, okay, the Niners got a good defense, but the way that they were, I just thought they were so flat offensively, and they couldn't run the ball. Dak wasn't good, like you said. CeeDee Lamb was a non-factor, and he's special. I don't want to take anything from CeeDee Lamb. I mean, he's one of those guys that can change a game, but they just couldn't get him the ball. And Cooper was quiet, and they couldn't run the football, and they. Lousy on everything the Cowboys did over this weekend, from coaching to the players, definitely an F plus.
We shouldn't have bought it, and I'll tell you why. Because they were 6-0 within that disgusting division they're in, the NFC East. They were 6-5 outside of it, and they didn't play all that well at the end of the year against a team in the Cardinals who was falling apart. And I posed this
Thanksgiving
yesterday.
loss in overtime
to
the Raiders.
I don't want to pile on Dak. But I think we learned a lot about Dak through that game. I really do. Because when push comes to shove, I just don't know how well he performs. And I did pose this question. How many quarterbacks dropped in that situation would be incredibly successful with CeeDee Lamb, with Dalton Schultz, with Amari Cooper, with Zeke Elliott, Tony Pollard? That O-line, I know it's aging, but it still has some good players.
Ian Book wouldn't be, but a lot of people would.
Yeah, I just he's had his moments. Dak wasn't the Dak of last year. In that offense, I think the line was, in and out of alignment. I wouldn't even put the blame on Dak. I just think it's a universal thing in that offense. When I watched the Dallas Cowboys, even last year when you thought, well, they can turn this thing around and win this division, and then Washington ends up, pulling the rug from underneath them, and then they get in to win the NFC East. I just don't see who's that leader on that team. Who's that guy that grabs a face mask from his teammates and says, listen, this is the way we're going to do it. I mean, I know the guys in the Steelers locker room. I'm going to tell you the first guy. I mean, Cam Hayward's not going to do that. And I'm sure
Jason Witten used to be for Dallas.
Yeah, and when you watch the Cowboys, I just don't see. There's nobody on the sidelines. Dak's attitude, even when they're down.
Sean Lee used to be.
Yeah, I don't see that.
Micah
fiery
Parsons
force.
needs to become that guy. Micah Parsons.
Micah Parsons has got to be his team.
It has to become, but there has to be somebody.
Yes.
Or Banderish.
I agree with you. And yes, I'm not blaming it all on Dak. I'm not blaming it all on Mike McCarthy. It really is just something we've become really used to with the Cowboys in general. But, Bo, always appreciate it, man. Thanks for joining us.
Real quick, we didn't blame Jerry Jones. That's amazing. So have a great week, guys.
Good point.
We got all the off season. Thank you, Bo.
And he ain't going anywhere, so I don't know how much blaming helps.
Either is Dak. Have a great week, gentlemen.
You got
a good one. You can follow him on Twitter at Bo Marchant. Just a reminder, coming up right after our show, 5:30, the pregame show starts for Ole Miss versus Missouri. We'll be off the air a little bit early, and the tip will be at 6 p.m. It's time for Crunch Time.
Go crazy, folks! Go crazy!
This is for all the biggest Crunch Time.
You are looking live. In your life have you seen anything like that? Goodbye! Hello, Haskins.
It's obviously Crunch Time.
Hammer, nail, coffin. This baby is over.
The double steak grilled cheese burrito, so good. Double the steak with nacho cheese sauce, seasoned rice, red strips, sour cream, and the 3-cheese blend wrapped inside a warm flour tortilla, with even more 3-cheese blend grilled on the top. The double steak grilled cheese burrito, it hits the spot now at Taco Bell. And at Taco Bell, when they say they are feeding people's lives with unexpected good, they mean it. Bowl food you can't get anywhere else.
Brett, what I learned today is that Todd McShay and Mel Kiper Jr. have put together their comprehensive top 5 of what they think will be the top 5 picks in the NFL draft in 2022.
Mel doesn't like this quarterback class.
No, I don't think either of them. No quarterbacks in the top 5, so that's very interesting.
I love Mel. You like Mel?
Mel he's all right. He's okay. I don't have a problem with Mel. He's wrong a lot, but that's what happens in the NFL draft when you do that all the time. There's a lot of guys that you miss on. But there is 2 DNs, 2 left tackles, and a corner in the top 5. Jaguars, they have the first pick being Aiden Hutchinson out of Michigan. Lions, number 2 pick, they have Kayvon Thibodeau out of Oregon. 3, the Texans taking Evan Neal out of Alabama, left tackle. He's a big man. He's so athletic too, but we'll see how he transitions to the NFL. 4, the Jets taking Derek Stingley Jr., cornerback out of LSU. And then at 5, the Giants take NC State left tackle Ikem Ekwonu. I really like him. He's a good player. I think he translates more to guard, but always good to get the top 5 comprehensive from those 2 guys.
So that they just went as far as 5. They didn't go to a quarterback.
They went to they did the whole first round. I didn't get the whole first round. I just had the top 5 picks here.
Mel's not that he's bigger on Kenny Pickett than he is Matt Corral. Today I saw one that had Corral going really early, like 6 overall to Carolina.
I'll tell you 2 people there. All these NFL draft analysts are way too high on 2 quarterbacks: Malik Willis and Desmond Ridder. I'm sorry, I just don't
with you
see
on both.
it yet. I think
I don't see it.
And they can be good. They have all of the physical
they can get you
attributes.
fired too.
They have the physical attributes. You take them too early though, and don't let them develop, you can get fired easily.
I learned this today. The Grizzlies for sure can be the 3 seed. It won't be easy, but the 2 isn't out of reach. I'm not holding out any hopes for the 1, but we'll see. One more home game this year against Golden State. The 2 is attainable. The 3 for sure.
I think so. I think so. Here's my one thing with the Grizzlies, and I don't know how much you agree with me. I think they're really built well for the regular season with the depth they have. They're really well built for the regular season, so I could see them getting up there. Now, playoff time, I wonder about some of these
shots.
matchups.
You got to bump and grind.
Do you have questions about playoffs and what they can do in a 7-game series against another playoff team?
From the experience point of view, yeah.
I just think
and you have some cold shooting.
I think the success they've had is very, very dependent on the functional depth that they have really accrued over the years here with Zach Kleiman sort of heading it. But
have you taken a look at Jonas Valanciunas' stat line this year?
Pretty good,
it's
right?
Beautiful.
Double.
Oh, it's beautiful.
Yeah.
Every night. Just as easy and routine, just like it was here.
But
I love that trade.
Dare I make the empty stats conversation come to the front here?
I think it's true, though.
He gets in the way. He likes to take a lot of shots.
He's always in the way on their offense. And Brandon Ingram trying to drive, it's always in the way.
And also, Pelicans, that team, that doesn't make sense put together. Even if Zion gets on the floor with Jonas and Brandon Ingram, I just don't really understand what the plan of attack is there. That's a lot of guys that can get to the rim and take shots from around the rim. I'm curious how that actually makes sense when they get that all put together. What I could have done without, and this is interesting, out of Iowa, Kirk Ferentz, the whole 9 yards, with Chris Doyle, they ended up putting together the University of Iowa, an alumni advisory committee in the wake of the player accusations of bullying and racism from Chris Doyle. And this was a year and a half ago when they actually put this committee into action. And it looks like Kirk Ferentz has officially pulled the plug on it a year and a half into it.
He didn't like what was coming out of it.
Yeah, and it comes after the committee leader, David Porter, the committee leader, the chairperson. He's a former offensive lineman for for Iowa.
Wanted to help the program.
He called, and this is because the reason he pulled the plug, that Kirk pulled the plug on this, he called for Kirk to retire and AD Gary Barta to step down. So if you keep the committee there, you're giving light to that. I don't think Kirk wants to give light to him retiring anytime soon.
That's a good way to get the plug pulled, is call for the coach to be removed. I could have done without Kyrie. He still dug in. They're now calling Novak Djokovic Novak's Djokovic. I don't care if it's Kyrie, Novak, or Bob at the store, anybody. I don't care about your vax status anymore. Do what you think is best. I'm double vax. I'm boosted. When I have to get a fourth, I will. That's my business. You take care of your business. Otherwise, I don't care.
Also, I could have done without this. Kyle Anderson and Desmond Bane both have entered health and safety protocols and are a no-go as of right now for the game against the Bucks. Also, with the Australian Open, since you brought up Novak, did you see Nick Kyrgios? And I know he's sort of the bad boy of tennis. Nick Kyrgios this morning, after beating Liam Brody in his match, he took a drink of a fan's beer, and the Australians are going nuts about it. They're losing their mind.
It's great.
They are.
Who'd you have cash on in that, Bryant?
I didn't have any on that one. I had someone, Francis Tiafoe. That's my guy.
Where's he from?
He's from America, right here.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah, that's my guy. I've been following him for a while. Yeah.
I mentioned earlier, I'm gonna watch Paulo Banchero tonight. He's worth the watch. Duke at FSU last time for Coach K at Florida State, and the zany American tonight, UCF at ECU. They have something in common, unfortunately.
And we also have West Virginia leading Baylor right now. Baylor has lost 2 straight. They're losing 50-47 in West Virginia right now against Bob Huggins' team. But that's all we have for today. Thanks for joining us. Thanks to Dave Waloshin, Brent Beard, and Beau Marchant for their contributions to the program. For Brett, for Brian, I'm Gabe. Enjoy your night. We'll holler at you tomorrow at 3.
I know the sweetest thing in Memphis, and I know it's been around for 120 years. You know, I'm talking about Dinstall's, and it's time to stock up heavy on Cashew Crunch, Heavenly Crunch, Turtlettes, all of your favorite Dinstall's treats. to watch the playoff games and to watch all the basketball. It's so easy to get. The sweetest thing in Memphis, all you have to do is head to Laurelwood or head to Germantown and Poplar right across from the hospital, or go where they make the candies. That's on Pleasant View. There's nothing that says Memphis better than Cashew Crunch with that little tinge of coconut, or the Turtlettes. Let's face it, there's nothing better than Dinstall's chocolate. That's the mainstay of all candies, isn't it? Milk chocolate, although their dark chocolate is pretty darn good. And if you get the peppermint with the dark chocolate and put it in the freezer, you're going to love it. So many ways to love Dinstall's. 115 years of making Memphis oh so sweet.
At Jason's Deli, when you're dining in or picking up curbside, you can expect wholesome food and no surprises, just delicious sandwiches, crisp salads, and quick quality meals made with the freshest ingredients and no artificial trans fats, MSG, high fructose corn syrup, or artificial colors and dyes. Around here, a lot of thought goes into what we put into our food and what we take out of it, because you're not just taking a bite, you're getting a taste of who we are. New items are constantly being created to expand our menu for all tastes and special diets, with vegan and gluten-free options available. Convenience and on-time delivery you can count on. It's just a click away at jasonsdeli.com, so whether you need to feed 5 people or 5,000, the team at Jason's Deli, they have the credentials and the commitment to keep you satisfied. Freshness is nearby at Jason's Deli, with locations at Ridgeway in the Park Place Center, Poplar and Highland, Germantown Road in Cordova, and on Goodman Road in Olive Branch. Jason's Deli. It's wholesome food and no surprises.
Do you know one of the best things you can do for your employees or family's health? Provide Arctic Clear bottled water. Arctic Clear bottled water is your locally owned and operated bottled water provider. Arctic Clear is 100% natural spring water with free delivery and setup, dependable service, and no long-term contracts. What an easy choice. Call Jeff Manus today, 901-382-2363, or visit arctic-clear.com. Arctic Clear bottled water. Call now, 382-2363. That's 382-2363.
I'm here with the great Pat Donahue from the Rendezvous Restaurant Shipping Department.
Thanks, Brett. We've been shipping our ribs all over the country now for decades from our USDA-inspected shipping kitchen in the Pinch District. We hand-cook our ribs in pits that Mr. Charlie built over charcoal, just like they do at the restaurant.
So what comes in a rib box?
We could do pork shoulder, we could do ribs, our sauce, seasoning, baked beans, coleslaw. We'll even throw in Pancho's cheese dip with our nacho boxes. We also put a bag of Rendezvous seasoned popcorn, heating instructions, some